What's up, guys? This is BunnyMuffins. Today we are going to go over how to get to Masters using only the Karma Dawnbringer composition. This means that we are going to be doing the regular build, we're going to be doing a lot of the other late game variants such as the 4 Invoker version, and we're going to show you what to do if you roll down all your gold and do not find a single Karma as well. Before we get into this, I want to show you guys something very funny. So here's my match history on this patch and my most played champions sorted by LP, and you guys can see here we have plus 136 LP from Karma, but really it's probably 170 because sometimes I sell Karma to get into the super late game builds with Teemo carry. So this plus 170 on Ivern is probably the most accurate number, and pretty much that negated all my losses because I clearly do not know how to play Aphelios. They're both very good comps, but I'm just much better at the Karma build. So hopefully you guys can learn a lot from the games I'm about to show you. We're going to be playing 6 games of this Dawnbringer Karma composition. I think it's personally really strong. This comp is also really easy to play because it is very straightforward because you generally go 6 Dawnbringers almost every game in the mid game. And then it also has a turbo cap late game because you end up winning a ton of games because you can get to a Teemo Heimerdinger late game, which is just truly catastrophic for other people if you manage to hit it. Doesn't happen every game, but hey, you don't need to win every game to climb in TFT. So we start off the game with 2 rods and a glove. Just to preface this video, we are doing a review of games. I think this is one of the best ways to get better at TFT because there are a lot of mistakes you end up making in your games that you don't actually realize you made at the time. And sometimes they can be super obvious because, again, sometimes you're just thinking about 5 steps ahead in the game and you just forget to look at your board and realize you're making a grave mistake by not doing something. So here we're at a bit of an awkward start. I feel like there are 2 options here. You could either play the Warwick and the Gragas for a front line and add in a Kha'Zix plus a random unit such as a Varus. I think I'm not completing this Kha'Zix 2 because I'd much rather have the rod on someone else. I do opt to go for selling everything, leveling up, playing the 2 brawlers, and then playing Syndra plus Varus. Maybe hoping for a Syndra item holder in the early game. I feel like I make a mistake here though because I should build the Rabadon's Death Cap on Syndra, but for some reason I just don't do it. I'm facing a guy with 3 3-stars, so this is actually pretty troublesome for me. So we get smashed as expected, but luckily it's just a 2-unit loss, not a 3-unit loss. So on this carousel, we are going to grab the gloves. Shadow Sword is a bit of a weird item in this comp. I feel like the glove is great because we could build either a jeweled gauntlet with it. Maybe we could do double jeweled gauntlet. You could also build a lot of weird defensive items with it. I see a Soraka in my shop. I'm going to buy it, put it in because that gives me Dawnbringers, and Jeweled Gauntlet is a perfect item on Soraka. So one very interesting thing you could do with this composition is sometimes you get a lot of Sorakas. You could do a reroll Soraka game. That's one option. We're not going to do that this game, but it is something you should keep in mind, and I think I did leave that option open for me during the course of this game. But yeah, Jeweled Gauntlet on her, I probably should have built both the Jeweled Gauntlets instead of just leaving an extra rod and a glove on my bench. So I guess that is a minor mistake already. I definitely should be slamming both items because they are very playable items in the Karma build. In this next shop, we see a Nidalee. I'm going to go ahead and play her because she is a Dawnbringer. She gets the buff for that. And this was one of my first games on the patch. They recently nerfed all the critical strike damage, so that's probably why I was hesitant on building the second Jeweled Gauntlet. But now since the patch has developed a little more, it's pretty clear that Jeweled Gauntlet is a very serviceable item on Karma. However, you do prefer having a Rabadon's Death Cap, but the early game value I would have got from building the second Jeweled Gauntlet definitely outweighs any advantage I would get in the late game by having a Rabadon's with perfect items. This guy's got a Bloodthirster Ashe with a level 2 set, so I'm pretty sure I lose this one, but I think we just lose by maybe 1 or 2 units. So now we're on Carousel. I really think I make a mistake here. The best item here, looking back at it, is either the Tear, the belt, or the Shadow Rod. I think Shadow Rod on the Kennen is the best because, again, we could build Shadow Rabadon's Death Cap. You may notice we see a Rise in our shop, and that is because I pre-leveled. Normally at level 4, you are unable to get 4-cost units in your shop, but if you pre-level to level 5, it actually gives you an extra 2% chance to get a 4-cost unit. And it's something that you can do if you can't make interest before the carousel round at this point in the game. So I'm going to do a couple more swaps to my team. I think I'm going to put in 4 Dawnbringer. I see a Kha'Zix in my shop, and then I just swap out the Warwick and the Rise, and now we have the 4 Dawnbringer Power Spike. It's not going to be strong enough to win us any games since we don't have any 2-stars, but it is definitely better than nothing. I do end up building the Infinity Edge here. Again, not really sure why. If I would look back in hindsight, I feel like getting Like a Rabadon's would be much, much better, but let's just forget about that right now so we don't distract ourselves in the course of this game, because you can't really change the past even though you made a mistake in TFT. So this guy, I think, are going to take a 1-unit loss again, which is very, very welcome. We definitely want to keep this win streak up, because look at the top right now. It's all red, and that is actually a good thing. In case you guys are new to TFT. Streaks are a way to gain a lot of gold, and the reason why is because on the neutral rounds, you get to keep your gold streak through that extra round. So if I have a 5-game loss streak right now, you gain 3 extra bonus gold per loss that you get. And since I'm gonna lose this round, hopefully, I bring that streak into the neutral round with me, so I actually gain a bonus 6 gold just like that. So you guys can check it out. We are at 11, you get 5 gold per round. So we should be getting 8 this round, and then probably 8 the next round after that. And that's just like 6 bonus gold that I'm going to get that you wouldn't get had you not known about streaks. We do get smashed here, so you know what? Honestly, it's not that bad. We are going to be 82 life, and that is very manageable, because 82 life with a 5 loss streak, you are in a perfect position. Also, I just realized this is my like how to get to Masters video, so I'm assuming most of you guys are probably in like platinum, gold, or diamond trying to get up there. So you guys probably already know about loss streaks, but hopefully I wasn't too repetitive in saying that, because just because you guys might already know that doesn't mean that everyone who is watching does know about it. But it is very important, and I see a lot of people, they forget about streaks as well. Like my friend is in like Diamond 3 right now. He's normally Masters every set, but you know, sometimes he just doesn't pay attention to it. Not because he's bad, but it's just like sometimes you just forget to do something over the course of like 100 games of TFT you play per set. So mistakes always happen, you just can't really sweat it too much, but do try to pay attention to the game as much as you can while you play. So we are facing a Hellion guy. He is level 5, he's got a 2-star Leona as well, and Poppy. So I think we lose this one too, because again, we don't have 2 stars yet, but as long as the loss isn't that big, I'm honestly not that worried about it, because again, we're getting all the bonus gold every single round. The Soraka crit wasn't too bad. So this guy looks like he's doing a lot of damage to us. I think we were at 82 before. He dealt 8 damage, so we are at 74. That's honestly like a decent sized hit, but not the end of the world. Here we're going to get the regular tier. We're going to build a Spear of Shojin. Whenever you're playing Karma, you want 1 mana item and 2 damage items. So right now we have IE and Jeweled Gauntlet for damage, and we have the Spear of Shojin for mana now. So we are pretty much chilling from there. If you guys are wondering whether you should be building Blue Buff or Spear of Shojin on Karma, if you do the math, it ends up not mattering, except in one scenario where you are running 4 Invoker. However, if you are ever running 4 Invoker, you generally swap your items over to Teemo anyway, so that it doesn't really matter whether you do have a blue buff or a Spear of Shojin on your Karma at that point. So it looks like this guy is going to win, so I guess we're keeping our lose streak, and we are able to finish that last guy off. Man, we are losing like pretty much perfectly every round. 70 life for 7 losses. Not too shabby, because we are going to be pretty rich. You will notice we did not level, and that's because I'm like kind of trying to keep my streak, because I am considering doing a reroll Soraka game. The reason why is because we have perfect item Soraka. These are actually like one of the best in slots for Soraka carry. And we have a LeBlanc. Sometimes you just hit it, like I'm just going to see if I do, and if I don't, then I'll just level up as normal and try to go for the regular Dawnbringer build. This guy's going Draconics. He's got Shadow Locket. If you guys didn't know yet, Shadow Locket on that Warwick, I think Shadow Locket is probably one of the best items in the game right now. It gives so much resistances. It gives 70 armor and magic resist to 5 people in your front line, and I feel like for 1 item, you really can't ask for much more. So on this carousel, we already have all our damage items, so now we want a tank item. I do want this belt, but it's on 1 gold, so is it really the best thing to take? So that's why I go for the Shadow Chain instead. Just to get a little bit more gold. So in this new shop, we do hit the Soraka here. We do want to level up, and we do want to roll a tiny bit, because we could definitely potentially go for a Karma reroll game. So we're just going to roll down to 50 and see what happens. And I actually hit a Karma here. This is very fortunate for us, because obviously getting that carry this early in the game is absolutely insane. Some people like selling Soraka right away to swap the items over, but since I am running 6 Dawnbringer and Soraka is one of my only 2 stars, I decide to keep her for now and probably switch to the Karma a little later. I know we hit Karma super early this game, but I promise you guys in all the other 5 games we're going to be playing today, we don't always hit Karma, and I will show you guys how to deal with those situations. It just so happens that in this order of games, I happened to hit Karma early in one of my first games. We did have a big lose streak, so we're not quite out of the woods yet, because we are at 60 life. If we don't manage to win a lot of games in stage 4, Game's going to be looking a little bleak in my opinion. So I should sell the LeBlanc and the Vlad here, get up to 50 gold, and no worries there. Oh, just a side note, guys. I know this is a 3-hour video. I do not expect you guys to watch this video 3 hours straight because this is not a movie. This is 6 different TFT games. They just happen to share a similar theme. So definitely watch one game at a time. Maybe like do something else. Maybe do it while you're like eating a little snack or something like that. Or maybe when you're exercising or something. Like if you're on the stationary bike, you pull up a YouTube video. I don't know if people do that, but that's when I would recommend watching some of these games because you don't want to watch 3 hours of TFT in a row. You want to watch a game, reflect on it, maybe try to apply something that you learned, and then come back to it a little later. So definitely like maybe while you are at bookmarking it, just go ahead, hit the like button if you are enjoying what you're seeing so far. And if you guys are new to the channel, definitely hit the subscribe button as I come out with so much TFT content. I've pretty much been doing this all since set 1. I don't think there are many other YouTubers out there that provide a lot of educational content for that long. So definitely subscribe if that type of content is what you are looking for. We get a bunch of gold here. We get an extra spatula. So I am going to level up here and we do want an invoker. So we probably want to look around for that. We also want to build the spatula. So whenever you have a spatula, you do need to make sure that you have a bunch of 2 stars or things you can play because spatula only has value if you are able to make use of that extra unit. If you are just throwing in a Vlad 1 like I'm doing now, probably not the best use of the spatula. Unfortunately for me, I realize this too late and I start rolling after the round is already over. This is a big mistake on my part. Whenever you're building a Force of Nature, you have to be rolling to get 2 stars because it's pretty much a waste of an item if you don't do that. Luckily, we have Soraka 2-star with our 3 items. Generally, if your 2-star is your 3-item carry, you can get away with having fewer 3 stars compared to other teams where you only have a 1-star copy of your carry. But essentially, since our item holder has the upgrades, we are a little safer than we normally would be. So in a hypothetical scenario, if we had a Draven 1-star with 3 items, and we had maybe like 1 or 2 2-stars on our board, we definitely want to roll a little more because our item holder is not actually equipped to carry that game quite yet because he's still only 1 star. However, in this situation, we only have 3 1-stars, but one of them is a very critical one in Soraka, so we actually aren't as worried as most other players should be at this type of board state. So we are facing off against a guy. Wow, he is level 8 already. This guy is super, super rich. Level 8, 30 gold. I wish that could be us sometimes. We should be able to win, though, because he's been playing a little greedy. Never mind. He has... Oh, Soraka sniped him. I was about to say, maybe with the Abominations, he could kind of carry through the mid-game, but luckily we're able to pull that out. So even though he has a big econ advantage over us, we are still able to keep in this game somehow. And we were at 60 life before. We are still at 60 life now. Very, very good sign for us. We're going to do some pre-levels, probably level up right after this carousel. So we are against this Ranger guy. I'm going to build this Shadow Locket. Shadow Locket, again, super, super strong item. It gives your front line so much defensive stats that it's like not even funny. Like all these guys, they used to be super weak. If you guys think about it, the Shadow Locket gives 70 magic resist and armor. And I think Ironclad 1 only gives like 40 armor and Mystic 1 only gives, I think, like 50 magic resist. And that's really like not that much. So you're literally getting 2 traits worth of synergies for just 1 item. Obviously, there's a downside. Obviously, it only affects 5 units, but you really only care about the tankiness of your front line. And you also do not really care about the mana regeneration of your front line. So it's really like the downside isn't that bad at all. On this carousel, I think we want the Heimerdinger. Unfortunately, that guy took it. So I guess getting a tier isn't too bad. We could kind of build like a static shiv with that, or you could have taken the belt for a ZZ Rot or the chain vest for a Titan's Resolve. Pretty much whenever you have a bow, you're like never going to get a good item from it in this comp, unfortunately. So do not get bow as much as you can. Like ZZ Rot, Titan's Resolve, static shiv, those are probably the only playable items on bow. I guess you could do a Rage Blade if you were going the Teemo variant, but we're not doing that quite yet. Get a Morgana 2. Again, I'm just playing any 2 stars I can because we have the Force of Nature. But I guess we're not in too bad of a spot quite yet. I'm going to put the... who should I put the Static Shiv on? I guess maybe Lulu or Nidalee could use it. I guess they get their ult earlier. Not really sure. It doesn't really matter who gets the Static Shiv as long as I just build it before I lose a lot of value from it. We are against this Yasuo, though, and he is... Ooh, No, don't do it. Don't do it. Come on, Soraka, you got this. All right, nice. So we keep our win streak up. If we win one more game, we get a 5 streak into this neutral camp. And that again gives us a bonus 6 gold that you normally would not get had you not streaked. So now that we're level 8, we're 30 gold. We aren't out of the woods quite yet because we only have Karma 1. There are probably other Karma players in this game as well. We don't have Garen. We still have a bunch of 1-stars. We're still running like a Vladimir 1 for crying out loud. We still need Ivern, so there definitely is a lot to roll for on 5-1. Arguably, I should have rolled more on stage 4 or 5, but, you know, I am only human, and I'm also a boomer, so I cannot press D that quickly while moving my mouse to buy the correct champions in a roll down, unfortunately. Some of you guys might be a lot faster than me, and that is really good. That definitely is a very good skill set in TFT, being able to roll really quickly. Not really many ways to get better at that other than just practicing a lot. We get a super interesting shop here. We get, oh man, we get a Teemo, which is very welcome. We get Invoker from that, and we could potentially skip the Karma carry and go into kind of like the 4 Invoker build, which is even stronger than the Karma carry. It's essentially like the late game version of that comp, but let's see what we get. We get a belt and a tier. What can we do with that? Probably a redemption isn't too bad. We could also wait 1 round to see if we get anything off this next carousel. Not carousel, the armory, because sometimes that gives individual items, but like redemption is a very good item. A lot of people play Taric in this comp, and Taric is the best item holder for redemption because he just heals a ton of people with that item. So who do we put in now? We have 6 Dawnbringer, 1 Cruel, 2 Renewer. Is Vlad really the best thing to put in? It's either Vlad or the Lulu. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. Maybe Lulu's slightly better than the Vladimir now that I look back at the game. This guy's playing Assassin. He shrouded the most important parts of our team. Not a good look in this matchup because you know what the counters to Karma is? It is Assassin. So that's why whenever Assassins get nerfed, which is what they were recently, teams like Karma are going to come out and absolutely destroy people. You also don't need to build like any defensive items because you don't need like a Guardian Angel, for example, because generally, no one's playing Assassins when Assassins are bad, but somehow that guy, he still is. So on this carousel, do we want the loaded dice or a random item component? I think the loaded dice is pretty interesting because getting a random item component, it's not really that strong. Loaded dice could give us a potential of a very strong 2-star. So I'm kind of just chilling now. Normally, I'd be rolling down for Karma 2, but since we have such a strong stabilized state with this Soraka board, and we have a Nico and a loaded dice now, I'm thinking we should just go level 9 and just level up, turbo spike, and roll all the way down to 0, and hopefully get some 2-star legendaries to carry for our team instead. In some of the other games we'll be playing today, we'll be going over the standard Karma build, which is the 6 Dawnbringer, Ivern, plus like maybe a random unit such as Volibear. You don't always get those games in your own games, so we need to cover all scenarios, and this video does exactly that. So one mistake I am making is my positioning. I should be spreading out. If other people are playing a lot of AoE units, you don't want to be grouped up. You generally only want to group if you're playing Kindred on your team or if you are against a lot of Assassins. Again, if you group up, pretty much every area of effect ability is going to hit you or your entire team, so I definitely should be spreading out right now, but in the game I must have just gotten lazy and just didn't really care too much for spreading out. So on this carousel, what do we want? We already have all our damage items, so probably something like a Shroud would do really nicely for us. Unfortunately, these people are pretty smart, so they take the Shroud right away. Maybe Locket would be really good. Not really too sure. Maybe the Jeweled Gauntlet. Jeweled Gauntlet I could probably put on my Karma. Alright, I think it is time to level up. 44 gold to level up means we have around 20 gold to roll down. We see a Lulu 2 and a Volibear there. I'm going to welcome that with open arms. The thing about Volibear is we do not have Ivern yet, so we need him to unlock the Revenant buff. So I'm going to use the, what do you call it, on the Teemo, the loaded dice. We get Karma and Teemo 2-star from that. Incredible. I'm going to sell my Soraka, swap the items over onto Teemo, and then put the extra Jeweled Gauntlet on my Karma that I just got. That seems pretty good in my opinion. Pretty good. I can't really complain too much about this team. But definitely IE Jeweled Gauntlet on the Teemo, and then Spirit Shojin on Teemo, and then yeah, this Jeweled Gauntlet should go on my other Karma. Oh no, what am I doing? Put it on Karma, put it on Karma. Dude, my past self clearly does not know how to play this video game, because it is a no-brainer to put it on Karma, like in hindsight. I don't know why I didn't do it in game. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Sometimes there's like a very simple play to make, and you just don't do it when you're in the game. I don't know how to explain it at all. If I had to give one guess on why I did not put it on my Karma is maybe I'm saving this Jeweled Gauntlet for Heimerdinger that I don't have right now. That's literally it. That's the only thing I can think of because I'm looking back at this game and I think I'm absolutely crazy for not putting Jeweled Gauntlet on Karma. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments because would you greed it out for the Heimerdinger or would you just put the Jeweled Gauntlet on the Karma? Why am I? Oh my god. Dude, my past self just does not know how to... Yeah, I don't know. This is why you do VOD reviews, guys. A lot of people, they ask me, like, how do I get better at TFT? VOD review to make sure you don't do stupid stuff like this in your future games. So there is that. This is like the prime example of that. You guys would know that if you watched the tips and tricks video that I released this set. But if you haven't already, I've made like a more advanced one in this set. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. I'll leave a card in the slot here or whatever. So I do end up getting the Heimerdinger now. I guess maybe it paid off. Maybe the greed play paid off, but just because something paid off doesn't mean it's actually the correct play. It is definitely correct just to put the Jeweled Gauntlet on the Karma. We get an Archangels here, which is very useful. Archangels is a great item for us. We're going to roll down a little bit more. We still are missing Garen and Ivern. Ivern's critical because we get 4 Invoker from him, so where are you, Ivern? We really, really need you right now. There's the Garen. Do I need Lux? I'm playing Mystic for now because we are facing a lot of other magic-oriented teams, but I definitely do need to buy this Garen. Okay, we do buy the Garen, drop him in, put the Shadow Locket on him, and the Redemption. And then this, the Archangel Stab, yeah, definitely goes on Karma. I need to sell this Morgana, though. Why didn't I play the Lux over the Morgana and then switch the Jeweled Gauntlet onto a proper unit? Because Morg just doesn't do that much damage. She's supposed to be there for CC. I mean, she did a decent amount of damage in this specific fight, but I'm surprised she's even going off, to be honest with you guys. But that doesn't really matter. Teemo is the primary carry, so we are able to smash this guy anyways. Our Karma's still second in damage charts, even with only a Archangels. I guess Morgana did do a decent job. She's up there too, but I feel like the item would be a lot more effective if it were on our Karma. All right, what do we have here? Coven, useless. Redeemed, useless. Dawnbringer, pretty good, and then Gargoyle Stoneplate of Immortality, absolute trash in the late game, so it's a Dawnbringer. We're also only at 3 Dawnbringer, so there's really no doubt about it to get the Dawnbringer emblem here. All right, so we got the Dawnbringer spat, and we are going to put this on our Heimerdinger, and he is going to be good to go. Roll down a little more because it is super late game. Everyone is 1 life, so everyone's going to be rolling down to 0 themselves. And there's 2 copies of Heimer. We just need 1 more. We're seeing a lot of Karmas in our shop. Maybe we could have gone for Karma 3. Who knows? Not seeing him. Ooh, I do want Tarek. Please sell this Morgana for the love of God, past self. I really hope I do that before the game ends. We are desperately still looking for Ivern because then we could play 4 Invoker, as I talked about before. But again, look at all the AP in this lobby. Like, this guy's Teemo 2. We are playing 3 Mystics to try to counteract that, but just not enough. Not enough. We are actually getting destroyed by this guy. So we're going to lose a ton of life here. We were at 35 health. Now we are at 17. So we might lose in one of these next rounds potentially. So new shop, I'm going to be rolling down. Hit nothing there, hit nothing there. Probably sell the Tarek and roll a little more. Just looking for a Heimerdinger. I should probably also sell this Kennen and play a real unit over that instead, but it's probably just an Ivern waiting room right now at this point. So we are facing another Karma player. That guy's got an Ivern. Both these other players have Iverns. There must just be no Iverns in the pool. So that's another mistake I made this game. I should have scouted the lobby and see how many Iverns were taken out of the pool and wait till one of those players dies before rolling for it. Because essentially I'm rolling for something that may or may not exist, and that's not something good to do. Notice how in this fight it is so important to spread out. I kept my Teemo and my Karma right next to each other, and even though I won this fight, I easily could have gotten crit and both of them die at the same time, so I definitely should have spread out instead. On this carousel, what do I want? Renewer Spat's pretty good. Spear of Shojin's really good. I think we're going to go for the Spear of Shojin on Heimerdinger. All right, so we finally get an Ivern, because again, the 2 people who had him got knocked out. We're going to drop him in over probably the Morgana. Dude, please sell the Morgana. Why am I not selling the Morgana to swap the Jeweled Gauntlet over? You know, again, past self, they do crazy things. Why? All right, I give up on myself. I give up on myself. All right, let's just focus on the fight. This guy has a Tarek with a Zephyr on him from Thieves' Gloves, and we do have a Heimerdinger 2-star. So hopefully he does some work with these 3 items now. And he has Dawnbringer Spatula for survivability. Look at that Heimer ultimate. It completely obliterated the enemy team. And is that enough to kill him? If it's not enough, it's definitely pretty... Oh, never mind. He just barely cleaned up our team. I think we had 3 units alive, so that would have been potentially 6 damage, and he only has 4 life. So if that last Teemo Shroom did not go through, we definitely would have won. We do get the Volibear too there. I just wish I was a better player. I'm never going to mention this Jeweled Gauntlet ever again, I promise you guys. He hit a Garen too, so we're just going to look at positioning to try to get our Volibear in front of his team and get our team away from his AoE, which for some reason I am not doing. I should be. Okay, there we go. I spread out my Karma, Teemo, and Heimerdinger, and that is exactly what you need to do because now if they hit one of them, both my carries aren't going to disappear for some reason. I have my Volibear in front of his Teemo, so that's really good too. He also has a Heimer too. We are both like the super capped Heimer Teemo comp, which is actually hilarious. Notice how my Teemo in the bottom left, Heimerdinger on the bottom right, his Volibear did not ultimate both of them. In fact, I don't think either of them got hit. Volibear generally does not get the corner spots if he is placed in the middle. Unfortunately, not enough, so we do end up losing this game because of that, or this round. Do we survive? I think we do. We have 17 lives, so that should be enough, and we are... 5 lives. So last lives. Let's see what we get on this, what do you call it, Rift Herald. We get a Locket. He gets a Titan's Resolve. Both suck on both teams. I would rather take the Titan's Resolve that he had, but, you know, you can't always choose what you want, or can't always get what you want. We get a Morgana there. Oh, man, replace the Morgana. Okay, Kindred. Replace the Morgana now with the Kindred. Rolling down. We get the Ivern 2 there, which is huge, honestly. Oops, I accidentally bought Poppy instead of that. And I'm just a monkey. I do not like my Karma for some reason. So I do a little spread out here. I keep my Heimerdinger a little more isolated. The Ivern 2 should definitely help a lot. The only thing that's scary on his team is this Garen. He's got Warmogs on him, which is the best item. He's got Revenant Spat on him, and GA is a very good item on Garen. And he's 2-star, so he just ends up doing a ton of damage to my team. But in this game, our Syndra throws him all the way back, which I think buys my team a ton of time. And just based off of that, I think we are able to take it. Even with all the mistakes this game, like people who are not in Masters think Master players are very, very good. People in Masters think Master players are very terrible. And I'm in the boat where Master players are pretty terrible, personally, because I make so many mistakes this game, still able to pull out the dub. Oh, and I bought Chonk recently. My friend gifted me some RP, and this guy is awesome. I use him in so many of my thumbnails. I had to buy him because he is so awesome. But hope you guys enjoyed this game. That was game 1. We got 5 more to go, guys, so definitely stay tuned for all that, and I will see you guys for game 2. All right, let's get into game number 2. From what I remember from this game, there were a lot of crazy late game scenarios that were made possible, all thanks to the new armories. Those armories are very interesting, and you gotta be sure to play around them. So in case you guys missed it, in set 5, we introduced new armories, which are on every second stage or second round of every stage, 2-2, 3-2, and 4-2. But recently they changed it so that the armory on stage 4-2 now disappeared, and now an armory can randomly appear on 4-2, 5-2, or 6-2. So that is a big change, and they made it so that they drop a lot of cool stuff, such as some spatulas, some consumables that we've seen in the past. But right now, let's just focus back into the start of the game. As you guys can see here, we are using a brawler start. So we have the Gragas, we have the Kha'Zix, we have a Nunu. We want to go for that almighty Dawnbringers that we've been talking about before. So our items to start off were a little weird. We started with a glove on the first carousel, and then we got a belt and a cloak. Not much you could build with those items. I'm not saying that they're bad. I actually like belt a lot on this patch. Belt is like... Belt makes Warmogs, and you need 2 of them, so it ends up being like one of the best tank items for pretty much every comp. So if you're playing flexibly, belts are definitely very good, but specifically for Dawnbringers and Karma, Garen makes such great use of the Warmogs because his ability benefits from % max HP. And now we are onto the armory in stage 2-2. Shadow tier, regular tier. So regular tier generally is better, but since we have a glove and I want to build an offensive item, shadow tier is a no-brainer because we can make the Shadow Hand of Justice, which is it's a very good Karma item. It's a tier item. It gives damage, it gives healing. What more can you ask for from an item? So I went ahead and built that on my Varus. We are just playing a random Varus just as an item holder. At this point in time, I really enjoyed the Varus starts. You get to play some redeemed. You can transition into Vel'Koz if you don't hit Karma. Lots of different options there, but Shadow Hand of Justice, it works in literally every single carry as like their third item, is generally what it's preferred as. But here we do get demolished, so we're down 0-2 already, 2 losses, 90 HP. Not the best spot, not the worst either because our board is okay. It's like our board is one of those boards where it's not strong enough to win anything, but it's not weak enough where we get blown out. However, we also don't have much gold. I went ahead and pre-leveled there because I want to try to win rounds 2-5 and 2-6 into the neutral rounds. We're probably losing this one though. I went ahead and bought the Soraka and sold the Varus so that we could run Dawnbringers with Soraka and then Renewers with the Lissandra. As far as Lissandra versus Vlad in the early game, those two are both Renewers. Let's say if you are running Soraka as your item holder, I like running Lissandra a bit more because you have a lot of frontliners generally. So Vladimir is another frontliner, so I feel like I don't need that many tanks. Even though Lissandra's not that great of a unit, I feel like she's better than a low-star Vladimir. Obviously, if you have a 2-star Vladimir and a 1-star Lissandra, play the 2-star Vladimir. But I think if they're equal power, I like the Lissandra a little more in this specific composition. Other compositions will differ because, again, it depends on how many frontliners you have and how many backliners you have. In this specific case, we have fewer backliners, so that's why I played the Lissandra. So on this carousel, we probably want a Rod. That Soraka with Tyr looks pretty juicy as well. Both of those items are pretty good for us, I do declare. So Rod here, I wouldn't fault you guys if you went for the Soraka. The other guy took it, so we wouldn't have been able to get it this game anyways, but I feel like both are very powerful. So next shop, we just dropped in the Warwick for an additional brawler. Can't really fit in any other synergies right now, so we're just going to keep it at that. We pre-leveled, did not hit that many good 3 costs. We see a Lux in our shop, that's pretty useless. I'm a little salty that we sold Varus because we see 2 Varuses in our shop right now, but you know, sometimes life happens that way. Can't always predict what happens next, so especially in TFT. So we put the Rod on Soraka. Some people like building Morellos. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's more of like a top 4 type of build. I've seen it happen though, in case you guys are that type of player. Of course, it depends on many other situations. If we were like super low, if we were down to like mid 70s in HP right now, maybe we would have slammed the item earlier. So we ended up losing that round as well. Not a good sign. This new shop doesn't really have too much. We'll probably pick up the Kazakhs and then sell up to 20 gold. So awkward position we're in. 2 losses, a win, and then 2 losses. This is like one of the worst starts you can get. We get a bunch of gold there and a Nikos. Maybe this Nikos is enough to redeem us in later parts of the game. We also finish off with a Tyr and an armor. So right off the bat, we have a bunch of our damage items settled already. We have the extra Rod, we have the extra Tyr to finish those items off. So I'm going to build a defensive item with a Gargoyle Stoneplate. My favorite defensive item combo right now is Gargoyle Stoneplate with the Warmogs. I probably said this so many times already, so I might be beating a dead horse. Apologies if you guys already knew this, but in case you guys are new, Gargoyle Stoneplate and Warmogs is such a good combo because it gives both resistances and health, which is the best way to increase your effective HP. And effective HP is the best way to judge how tanky a unit is. So if you went all armor and all magic resist and no health, you're actually not getting that much tankier than getting like a medium amount of health and armor, which is what this build gives. Conversely, if you go like all health, again, not as tanky as building a mix of both health and resistances because it's just the way the math works. You guys can check out my advanced tips and tricks video for more info on that. I'll try to leave a card up here that explains that phenomenon more in depth. So we roll down here on 3-2 because we are at 66 life, and we do hit an Ivern, but the reason why we roll at this point, I don't always roll on stage 3-2 at level 6, but if you guys are struggling, if you guys are 66 HP, you kind of have to. Hopefully I put this Ivern in for the Lissandra before the time runs out, but we do get the Rod on the, or the Shadow Rod, I should say, on the carousel. And why did I sell that? I am monkey brain. Sometimes it happens. Easy swap is just Ivern for Lissandra. No clue why I didn't do that. But Shadow Rod on, or Shadow Hat on Soraka is pretty much a no-brainer, which is what I had when I made the Ivern selling play. Because it gives a lot of damage to Karma, and that's pretty much what she needs. She lacks a lot of ability power, so getting as much on her as possible is definitely welcome. Jeweled Gauntlet actually isn't like that great on Karma. Of course, it's very good. I'm going to build Jeweled Gauntlet if given the choice in a lot of situations on Karma, but I like Hat a little more if I'm able to have a choice between the two. However, you don't always get 2 rods in your game, so that's why sometimes you just have to settle for a Jeweled Gauntlet. Get the Nunu 2-star here. We also get 2 Nidalees, so we could potentially play Nidalees with the 6 Invoker. I think Karma is the one we are missing in order to play 6 Dawnbringer, and that should round out our mid game in stage 4. So here we're facing a Callista item holder with Poppy, double Gargoyle Stoneplate. That's absolutely insane. Man, I love that item. This guy seems to love it too. Maybe this guy is... I did notice that this guy has slammed a lot of items, so he's probably going for some sort of win streak. You can see already he's at 96 HP, and he is like glowing in red on the top right. So yeah, that's how you can tell people are on a win streak, and it makes sense because like he slammed a lot of items. He deserves to have a streak. Hopefully we're still able to end it because this Nunu 2-star was absolutely huge from us. Unless this Callista just somehow pulls out a miracle. Oh my god, Callista actually 3v1'd. That is unfortunate for me, lucky for him, because he gets to keep his win streak now. All right, now onto the carousel. We want to complete our tier item on our Soraka or get a Warmogs. I think both are fine. If I got the Taric with the belt here, I'd be pretty happy. You could also go for the Spatula because Spatula with the belt builds Dawnbringer Spat. You could also save Spatula for high roll games by getting Force of Natures, because those are generally the best items in the game right now, or like at any point in TFT. Like Force of Nature, it's just an extra unit, so it's pretty solid. I probably should have got the Warmogs, but it's a little more fun to do the Dawnbringers, especially since we have the Nidalee on our bench already. So I went ahead, built the Dawnbringer Spat, put in a Nidalee, and now we have 6 Dawnbringers, which is a very, very big power spike, which is why the Karma comp is so easy to play. You get to 6 Dawnbringers, and you're chilling after that. If you guys watch my Draven unranked to Diamond video, you'll notice that we played like 6 different variations of Draven. For Karma, there's really only 2, Dawnbringers and then the Invoker build. The Invoker build is something that you always build into in the very, very late game, whereas the Dawnbringer build is something that you always build into in the mid game. So it's pretty easy to play this comp compared to other builds because 6 Dawnbringer just stabilizes super hard, especially since they buffed Dawnbringers from 10% damage to 12% damage. And there's our Nidalee 2-star. It's not the best unit in the game, but it's definitely helpful just to have any 2-star since we are on the struggle bus right now with 50 HP. All right, so this guy's going Yasuo or some sort of skirmisher build. Not really too sure which. He doesn't have too many Yasuos yet, so he can't quite commit. But I'm loving Dawnbringer on Nunu because he eats his first target, gets procced on Dawnbringer, heals back up, and then it allows him to eat his second target. Normally, Nunu can only eat 1 or 2 guys, but this fight alone, he ate 3 people, which is very, very welcome because that's 3 kills right there, all from 1 unit. So next shop, we see a Draven. Unfortunately, no items to play him. I guess we just have to wait. We get a Lee Sin, and we get a Morgana. We're just going to sell them to get up to 50 gold, and we get a glove. So glove's pretty decent. We could build another Hand of Justice, or we could save it for a jeweled gauntlet if we are able to get a rod. But let's roll down. We see the Karma there, so I swapped the Sorakas, and then I almost made a mistake by buying the Soraka. Instead, I sold her because I am not a monkey this time, and then I am going to put all the items on Karma. So this hat and the Hand of Justice probably going on her. See the Soraka 2 there. We see the Ivern that we sold idiotically earlier. So I think I'm going to replace Riven for now. Maybe Riven's better than Kha'Zix, not really too sure. Yeah, Riven's probably better than Kha'Zix at this point in the game. Kha'Zix doesn't do anything. Kha'Zix is only good during stage 2 because a lot of people are isolated. However, once you get to stage 4, stage 5, no one's isolated anymore. So you just never really need to run Kha'Zix. He's kind of just a bad unit. Like, he did a tiny bit of damage there, but not really, you know? So Karma's doing work. She's ramping up a little bit. Karma's very funny. She sucks in the beginning of the fight. Then once she gets her ability to really get going, if you guys didn't know, her ability reduces in mana cost every time she casts. So eventually she just auto cast, and just kills everyone that way, hopefully. So you guys might be asking, it's stage 4, we're kind of low. Should we be rolling here? And the answer for this situation, in my opinion, is no, because our board's pretty stable. We got 6 Dawnbringer, we have a Karma, and we have an Ivern. So what I love about the 6 Dawnbringer comp is that you stabilize really hard with Karma 1. A lot of other comps, they need like Draven 2, they need a Phelios 2, maybe even a Vel'Koz 2. But with Karma, you really just need the 1-star version to let you live through stage 4. Like once you get to stage 5, like of course you're going to want Karma 2-star, but you can even get away with some games in stage 5 with the Karma 1 still. And that's why this comp might be getting nerfed or like maybe considered overpowered, and it's just because like you just need 1 copy of the unit to do pretty decently. I will admit though, this Nunu Dawnbringer is putting in work. I think he's actually doing more damage than our Karma in most of these fights just because he's taking out like very high resistance targets. So even though on the damage chart he might not show up as dealing the highest damage, he might be dealing like the most effective damage, because Karma's hitting all the people with no resistances in the back line, while Nunu's dealing with all the tanks in the front line. So on this carousel, we definitely want to finish off our Karma item. Probably one of the rods are going to be good for us. If not, like, I'm chilling with like another Hand of Justice, like worst case scenario, but this rod allows us to build either Archangels or Jeweled Gauntlet. I think Jeweled Gauntlet's a little better. I think I make a mistake here though. I went for the Darius instead of the Ziggs. So Darius had the regular needlessly large rod, Ziggs had the shadow one. I think the shadow one's actually a little better if you have a healing item on your Karma. So Shadow Jeweled Gauntlet damages your unit whenever they cast a spell based on a percentage of their mana. But since you have Hand of Justice, that heals you up. So if you do have a healing item, I do prefer the Shadow Jeweled Gauntlet over the regular one. So I do make a minor mistake there. I think maybe what I was thinking was the Darius costs 5 gold, whereas the Ziggs cost 1 gold, so I do gain 4 extra gold from taking the Darius. And since I'm pretty poor this game, because I rolled on stage 6, or on level 6, it might have been worth to take, just for the gold. So here's like a weird part. I scouted around before, a lot of people are super strong. This dude has a Mordekaiser 2, some dude has like a Karma 2, so a lot of teams have hit their stride. So I definitely need to do a huge roll down on stage 5-1, right after the neutral rounds. All right, so we're facing Mord 2. Man, 2 people have Mord 2. A little rough around the edges, I must say, because I'm still sitting at a Karma 1. I also don't have that much more gold than this guy. I have 10 more gold than him, which is honestly nothing compared to having like a 2-star 4 cost. I think we still beat him. Actually, it's pretty close. Are we able to? The Ivern guy might be tanky enough, but okay, nice. He doesn't heal enough, so we are... Oh my god. Our Karma died, but our Ivern Daisy is living with 1 HP for that win. So we went 4-1 in stage 4 against some pretty powerful teams. You could argue that that last fight was like a little too close, so maybe we went like 3-1 and then like tied 1 if you want to consider it that. But like looking at the results, at least we went 4-1 with a Karma 1 board, and that's really all you can ask for from a Karma 1. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. We get a rod here with the tier, so we're building an Archangels on someone. I definitely need to roll down. It's level 8. I have the Ivern. Ivern 2 is completely huge. Looking for that Volibear though. Tarek 2 pretty big as well. He's great when paired with Garen, which we get here. So I am a lucky duck right now because those are some pretty wicked rolls, I will admit. Did I skip a Garen? Let's go back and instant replay. Okay, so we get the Tarek there. We roll down, we get the Garen. Oh, sorry. There's a Karma there. I thought that Karma was an extra Garen, and I almost thought like I completely threw the game. But yeah, simple Nico on this Karma is probably good enough. And okay, we're good to go. I almost scared myself because I thought there was a second Garen in shop, and then I could just Nico the Garen instead. But doing it this way is much better because 1, the Garen wasn't actually in our shop, and Karma 2-star when you have 3 items on her is pretty key. But like, I was just seeing things in the replay that weren't so. So one thing I've noticed, guys, if you are in a Karma mirror, the person with Jeweled Gauntlet normally wins because you one-shot their enemy Karma. I've seen a lot of double hat Karmas, both on my team and on enemy teams in the Karma mirror, not kill the other Karma because of the Dawnbringer buff, and then they just heal all the way back up. However, if you have a Jeweled Gauntlet and you get a crit on their Karma, you always win because, I mean, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just demolish them. So what item do I want here? I opt to go for the chain. I'm going to build the Shadow Locket. Shadow Locket's a very popular item now. So getting mana on your frontline units is kind of overrated. You'd rather just have them be super tanky, and Shadow Locket is the perfect item for that. And there we go. We hit a Volibear. We're going to drop him in. We sold the Nunu. Unfortunate. That Nunu, we need to pay respect to him because he did a lot of work this game for us, but we're just going to put the Dawnbringer spat on this Volibear and then drop a Gargoyles on him. So, reason why I put Gargoyles on Volibear instead of my Garen. Garen has Locket, so he's going to be sitting in the center. You always want your Gargoyle Stone Plate on a unit on the outside. So in this case, that's either going to be Ivern or Volibear, and I like Volibear a little more than Ivern, so that's why I put it on Volibear. It cannot be Tarek because Tarek likes being in between your tanks. And see what I mean? This guy had a Jeweled Gauntlet and a GA. So Jeweled Gauntlet with the Teemo, with the Heimerdinger was enough to just one-tap my Karma, and that's why you need it in the mirrors. So even though against every other matchup you'd rather have double hat Karma, having a Jeweled Gauntlet in the mirror matchup, very, very useful. So we are 5-3 now, stage 5-3, and this guy, he also built a Shadow Locket. He's going to Philios. I feel like we do pretty good against Aphelios. It depends on like Kindred ult timing RNG. It's not really RNG, but sometimes Kindred throws the ult down at the completely wrong time. Sometimes she throws it down at the perfect time. And the matchup really comes down to that. But I think Karma is generally a little better in this because Aphelios has a rough time going through tanks because he does a lot of little bits of damage. He shoots his ult, it hits a bunch of people, and it just doesn't do that much damage. And if you don't have AoE to back up your Aphelios, he just doesn't end up doing that much. So what do we want here? Probably this Heimerdinger. He's got a good item on him, so I'm just going to steal him from the carousel right there. But you can't always get what you want. All right, so we sell Heimerdinger, drop this on Garen. Pretty good. I don't think there was a Warmogs there. If there was, like, that's the best item. So we are facing now a guy who's level 7 in stage 5. Oh, he was re-rolling, that's why. Unlucky for him, did not get Yas 3. He got a Pantheon 3, though, which is pretty good. But he doesn't have items on him. He's still got more too, though, so that's his, like, what's it called? Like, the silver linings for him. But I think we should be, no. Maybe he does beat us. Does he? He's got a Lee Sin 3. Okay, he beats us. I'm very surprised because he doesn't have Yas 3 yet. He's very close, but I don't think he's actually going to get it this game based on his gold and his life total. So this shop, this is interesting spot. So we're only missing Volibear and Garen upgrades. Can we realistically hit Volibear or Garen 2 without any pairs with 30 gold? Probably not, that's why I end up waiting. Also, during stage 5, you generally don't lose 17 life total if your team is decent, which is what our team is right now. We don't have the best team, but we don't have the worst team. So if we do lose, we're probably going to lose by like 15 health, which gives us like 2 life, which is enough to survive this round. So that's why I don't decide to roll here. That Thresh hooked my Karma, a little awkward. But as long as Karma somehow ults the Kale, we should be fine. The way to counter Karma is by spreading out. So this guy is kind of, he's like semi-spread out, but I think later in the game, once he is facing a lot more Karmas, or if we're in like a 1v1 matchup, what he should do is place all his range units like in this square in the back line that has like spacings between them so I don't hit multiple units at once, because that's where Karma really shines. And especially if you're running a Kale comp, I'll pretty much never hit the Kale because Karma targets randomly. So we get a Dawnbringer spat here, which is pretty big. We could go ahead and replace maybe the Nidalee. We also get a Reforger from one of the Gray Orbs, which we don't really need. All of our items are honestly pretty good right now, but I'm going to drop the Dawnbringer. Either Taric or Ivern. I think Ivern's a little better because his abilities, I just think it's better than Taric's. Daisy does like an AoE CC. Taric's healing is very, very useful, but I think Ivern's just a little more core. So we're facing a guy with Heimerdinger 2, Teemo 1, Rise 2, and Karma 2. This is the guy with the Jeweled Gauntlet that sniped us before, and his Heimerdinger items are completely nuts. But our Karma hit him, but wasn't enough to kill him. He must be running a couple of Mystics, because normally that is enough to kill most people with this build. So I'm guessing this guy's running Mystics. Let me do an instant replay check. So he actually doesn't have Mystics, so I don't really know why our Karma couldn't one-shot his team. Probably Karma did not critically strike, which is why he was able to live. So I guess even if you have Jeweled Gauntlet, it still needs a crit, but like it crits more often than not, I think. So this Carousel, Dark Shroud to Skillness, it's a little risky, but that's the item I took, you know? The reason why this build is risky is because you can hit your own team and just like completely wreck your Karma. Because remember how we said Karma ramps up really, really nicely after her first couple of casts? If you delay her first cast, you essentially delay all her other casts, so it ends up being really, really weird to use. So I put Karma in the middle because I want to put the Shroud of Stillness on one of the sides, but this other guy had a Shroud of Stillness as well, so I ended up getting hit anyways, which kind of sucks, because if I left her in the corner, wouldn't get hit, but I didn't scout my enemies to see what items they got, and this guy got the Shroud as well. Luckily, we're able to beat him. Again, his Karma hit our Karma, but wasn't enough to kill her because no crit. That is the theme of this game. I'll stop repeating it. So we are facing off against a Kale and a Karma player. So the name of the game is to spread out. The Kale player, he should definitely move his Rise away from his Karma. I made a mistake by putting my Nidalee next to my Karma. I think I should have left Nidalee in the middle. I don't know why I moved the Nidalee. There's literally zero reason to do that. But let's see how this matchup goes. This guy has a very tanky guy in the front with this Rel with double stone plate with a Bramble Vest. Holy cow. He also got Bramble Redemption on his Garen from Thieves' Gloves. I'd say that's pretty damn lucky because that is some of the Apart from getting like 2 Warmogs, that's like a very good outcome out of the Thieves' Gloves for Garen. Are we able to kill this Kale? Sometimes what happens is Kale moves around too quickly, so we're not able to hit the Kale with our Karma. And this guy just got bailed out by a Thieves' Gloves, not gonna lie. Let's see what item we get here. We have a tier on our Garen if we want to complete an item with that. But like Hand of Justice, Frozen Heart, both of those are probably fine. I end up going for the Frozen Heart. We got the Frozen Heart. We're just going to go ahead and reforge this because we don't have a good holder for it. The only guy who could hold it is like Kha'Zix, but Kha'Zix jumping to the backline as 1-star is probably just going to die right away. So not really that great of holders for it right now. A blue buff who can hold that, probably Soraka, so that she could get her cast off faster and delay people's ultimates. There's a Volibear there. I probably want to buy that. And not able to afford Teemo, unfortunate, but you know, somehow that's how life is. So blue buff on the Soraka. I don't know why Nidalee's next to my Karma. I'm not able to swap in time, so I kind of grief myself. Ah, man, that is not good. You know, sometimes that happens. I almost got the swap up, but sometimes I'm a boomer, so I'm a little slow. We're not able to kill his Karma. I don't think we critically struck that time, but I think our Volibear is tanky enough to put him away. All right, nicely done there. And then let's see if we get second if the Wuji guy dies. And this other Karma player is pretty strong, but Kale in the late game. Damn, so everyone's at 1 life, so this is the last round. Whenever it's the last round, you want to be spending all your gold. We get a Heimerdinger there. Not really that useful, but neither is 8 Dawnbringer. I don't really like 8 Dawnbringer. 6 is like the sweet spot. It gives you enough healing where it isn't like super overkill, but 8's just a little too much. It's not that much value. However, I only have 1 star, so is it really that much better to put in Heimerdinger and Volibear? Not really too sure, but I guess we'll find out in a different game. I'm pretty sure it's weaker though, just because they're all 1 star. And Heimerdinger takes way too long to ramp up, and considering the fact that I have Shroud of Stillness, the enemy has Shroud of Stillness, Heimerdinger probably isn't realistically going to cast in most of these games. I should have scouted and seen the Shroud on this guy in the middle, but I'm just an idiot. But there we go. Critically strike on their Karma, and that fight's over, so I just spectate the other one. How do we do against a Kale guy? Again, he's not spread out. He keeps putting his Lulu next to his Kale. You want to do that against Assassins, but I don't really have Assassins, unless you count Kha'Zix 1, which I really don't. And I think that's his mistake this game. He might still win because Kale is Kale, but okay, so he does win that round, so we'll have to figure something out to beat that guy. So how do I want to do that? Probably by putting Volibear in front of his Kale. Probably, yeah, swapping out the 8 Dawnbringer because they kind of suck. I went ahead and went for 4 Renewer. Renewer is good on Heimerdinger if I'm able to get him to 2-star. We get a Garen there. Hopefully we get one more upgrade. I'm going to pick up the extra Karmas. Maybe we get an extra Karma too. There is Volibear too. I'm going to keep rolling down. Probably sell the Soraka first, right? Maybe I could swap Soraka and put the blue buff on someone else, but we are really just looking for Garen too, so I should roll down, sell these Karmas, and roll for... and there we see the Karma too. So I think I just need to put in the second Karma, but I don't really know how. I probably should just sell the Soraka and do it. And here I am an idiot. I actually remember this game. You might notice I swapped my Garen because I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to sell him. I don't put the locket on in time. Oh, man, that is depressing. At least our Volibear's in front of his Kale. Like, what can you do? What can you do? Our Heimer gets a pretty good hit off, and Volibear 2 just might be too tanky for this guy in this round because last time he was able to pierce through it, but this time... seems like this Volibear's living a very, very, very long time. Our Karma still hasn't killed the Kale's GA yet, right? So we're not out of the woods yet. Oh man, this one's looking a little close. No, and we lose that one. So this guy won because he rolled Bramblevest Redemption on his Garen, that other fight. This was a guy we faced. I think we would have won if that didn't happen. But you know, sometimes that happens and we got second place. Good enough, you know. Don't go for 8 Dawnbringer. We should have went to 6 before, so I probably should have rolled for upgrades just to take out Kha'Zix plus Nidalee. But yeah, let's get on into game 3. Now let's hop into game number 3. So you guys already know the Dawnbringer version of Karma. But the real question is, how do we do the super late game 4 Invoker build? Well, in this game, we're going to go over how to transition from the 6 Dawnbringer build into that, and how to itemize those champions. So first off, game started, we got a tier, perfectly fine for this comp because Karma needs at least 1 tier item, And we get a Morgana and a Nocturne from the boxes so far, so we get a bunch of gold, not too many items quite yet. I'm going to keep the Ziggs in for now. Maybe we could do some sort of Hellion start. Alternatively, we could try to make interest as well. I actually sold these two champions first because I was like, can Kha'Zix solo it? But I wasn't sure, so I chickened out, so I bought some units. But there are some units who could solo all of these rounds, even at 1 star. And you should have a list of those. I'll try to compile a video later in the future that says like which champions can solo these rounds. I'll probably just post it on my website, probably no video. But if you guys want notifications on that, definitely like subscribe below or check out my website, bookmark it, bunnymuffins.lol. So now onto the real game. We have like nothing to play, nothing strong at least. So I think we're going to play maybe the Sejuani, the Syndra, and something else. Do we want to level up? I don't really think we need to quite yet. So we don't level up here. I'm going to slam a Shojin because I'm probably definitely building that. Blue buff's good too, but if you are forcing Dawnbringers, you don't want a blue buff and then a sword because a sword doesn't really build too much. So Shojin is better. Blue buff and Shojin on Karma actually do the same exact thing unless you have 4 Invoker, in which case blue buff is slightly better. You guys can do the math yourself out on that. You just count how many auto attacks it takes for Karma to ult every time, and they're all tied unless you have 4 Invoker if you want to like actually math it all out. So that's why we built the Spear of Shojin, because the tier can be a Rod, because we're probably just going the regular Karma build with the 6 Dawnbringers. You don't actually plan on going 4 Invokers pretty much ever. That's kind of the thing where if you hit it, it's very good, but if you don't, like, you kind of not play it. But we're going to drop in the Hellions right now. It's a shame because we kind of sold some Hellions earlier because I wasn't sure if I could solo the creep round or not, so we would have extra Hellions now, but unlucky. We're just going to play this board that we have now, 3 Hellion and 2 Spellweaver, and we're facing a guy with 2 2-stars, so we're probably losing this one. We actually won. I don't know how. So next round, we get a 2-star Kha'Zix, and we have a Soraka in our shop, so I think it's time to get rid of the Hellions, put in the Dawnbringers, because that is just going to save us more gold, because we could possibly make interest if we sell everything. I'm going to keep the Cavaliers in, I guess, for now, put the Shojin on Soraka. I love using Soraka as an item holder. It sucks that you have to sell her once you get a Karma, but I feel like it is well worth it because she's just so strong at holding those items. We sold the rest of our units to get up to 10 gold, grab an interest there. This guy's got a Warmogs. Pretty good for him. Our Soraka hits the backline Syndra. Unlucky, it wasn't an AoE ultimate, but I do think we end up losing this because Warmogs is pretty broken. And this time I am correct, we lose by 4 units. So yeah, unlucky. On this carousel, we want to finish this tier item. So getting that Shadow crit is pretty good on that Lee Sin because that builds Shadow Hand of Justice. If you can't get that, the Rod would do perfectly fine too. So I go ahead and immediately slam that item. I get a 2-star Kled off the shop, and then I drop in a Vladimir just because she's a renewer, or he is a renewer. Let's see what this guy's got. He is a Katarina player. Spicy items on that Katarina. Let's see how our team does against that. Luckily, Kat does not target my Soraka quite yet, so I think we're chilling here. Whoa, one tapped right there, but we're able to finish him off because we killed the rest of his team. New round, we have a Riven here. We're probably going to pick that up because Riven is a Dawnbringer. Alternatively, we could sell Lulu and LeBlanc to get to 21 gold. I do think we do want to hold on to this Riven. Riven's going to help us get to that 4 Dawnbringer power spike that we could get much earlier, maybe at level 5 or level 6 during stage 3. This Thresh missed, but oh man, Warmogs is so strong. Dude, I've been telling you guys, everyone's building Warmogs, and that just means Giant Slayers are like free items that you can get to counter a lot of these players. Unfortunately, when you're playing Karma, she doesn't make the best use of Giant Slayer, but if you're ever playing like Draven or Aphelios, definitely options to consider. So off these Krugs, we get a Karma and a Rel. So that makes the game a lot easier. And then we also get a Lulu. So we're just going to sell the left side for interest because like we have Karma already. Rel is good on her own, and she's probably good for Cavaliers that we're running right now. But I think selling her is fine because just getting interest might be worth a little more, especially since we have the Karma. We're going to play 4 Dawnbringer, so we don't actually have that much room for extra units. So immediately, I'm going to sell the Soraka to put the items on Karma. I know we lose the Dawnbringers, but here's the thing. Karma on her own can carry all of stage 3, so even though she does not have 4 Dawnbringer, I'm pretty chilling right now. Even if I lose a couple rounds here and there to like super strong teams, I'm pretty sure getting the items over and getting interest from that sell is well worth it. I think this guy beats us. He's got a Lee Sin too. That is very, very powerful at this point in the game. Lee Sin's honestly one of the better champions right now, just because he is a solid tank, and he has great utility. He lowers attack speed of everyone around him within 2 hexes, and he also does like a semi-respectable amount of damage. So on this new carousel or armory, there's no discussion here. It's always going to be the Shadow Gloves. I guess you could go bow if you want to build Shadow Titans, but not that high priority of an item. I'd rather get the crit, maybe get a Shadow Jeweled Gauntlet. I'm going to roll a little bit because we're kind of low. We're at 72 health right now. I do want to get to 4 Dawnbringer, and just not hitting it quite yet. We finally get a Riven and Soraka, so I'm going to drop her in. We could have also hit Gragas or Nidalee for 4 Dawnbringer, so there were a couple of outs there that we could have used. I'm going to sell my bench to get up to the interest threshold and just keep the Riven. And that means we rolled around, I think, like 5 gold. Or sorry, I think we rolled like 5 times for 10 gold. So we are facing another Warmogs, and this guy is going redeemed with Varus carry, I'm guessing right now. He just has tank items. So I think he is deciding what type of comp to go, AD or AP still. I actually like building a lot of tank items early if you're playing flexibly. In this game, I think I was always forcing Karma, so we're pretty lucky that we hit Karma this early. But if you are playing flex, building a lot of tank items is really useful because you can kind of, like, every comp needs tank items, whereas not every comp needs attack damage items. So there is a difference there, because if you're going Karma, you get a bunch of swords, you're pretty useless in my opinion. So we get the Riven, or sorry, a lot of bows are useless. Swords, they could be used for like Guardian Angel or Spear of Shojin, like what we have here. But yeah. Also, like, whether Syndra is better than 2-star Kled and 2-star Sejuani, it's obviously the 2-star Cavaliers, because even though Syndra's great for the Invoker buff, having 2-2-stars that are tanks for our team buys a lot of time for Karma for her to just charge up and pretty much just dominate everything. As long as she doesn't get like screwed over by like assassins or random things that hit your backline, you're pretty chilling. We got hit by Thresh here, but luckily Thresh doesn't do enough damage to really stomp everyone here, or to one-shot Karma. So we're able to clean up this Draven. If he had a Bloodthirster, he would have won, but luckily he did not this time. So on this carousel, that Mordekaiser's looking mighty fine. I could also use the Tear from Katarina. Honestly, both of them work. So, or I could get this Karma with a glove. Okay, so it looks like that guy's going for Mordekaiser. And yeah, so just grab the Katarina. The Tear on Cat would have done fine as well, but I think getting the 2-star Karma when we're this low health is pretty useful. Just getting an early 2-star Karma just means we could save a lot of gold. Also, if we complete the Karma and we never get a glove item, like we never get a rod, we could always use the extra Shadow Glove on our bench to make Shadow Thieves Gloves and pop the item off of Karma. So you don't actually lose out on like the wasted item because we could always pop it off. At least that's what I think my thought process was at the time. So this guy's going Coven Vlad. Let's do a quick scout. No one's like insane strong. There is a LeBlanc player, which is a little awkward. Oh my god, that guy one guy has a Draven too. I spoke too early, so I guess some people are pretty strong. Because man, Draven 2 at 3-5, that is some donkey nonsense. But you know, sometimes people hit. We have 2 Karmas, so we're not that far behind. But obviously, getting the power spike is huge from that. So new shop, we see a Riven. Already have her 2-star, so don't care about that. The rest of the guys, we're not going for Sejuani 3 because we're selling her, and not going for Luxor Cat. Right, this guy is Vayne Item Holder. You know, Forgotten's actually a really good comp right now. I see a lot of, like, look at that. Thresh just one-shot my Karma. Forgottens are a very solid comp right now because all the units are really good with the Forgotten buff. You don't need to rely on Draven carry. Obviously, he's still your primary carry in a Forgotten build, but you're not 100% reliant on him. There are a lot of different outs as well. Similar to how in the Skirmisher build, Jax isn't like, well, he's like the main carry, but you don't need him 2-star to really shine because a lot of the other Skirmishers, such as Lee Sin, Nidalee, Kennen, Pantheon, and Trundle, all hold their own with their own abilities. So on this, we get a Negatron, another Glove, and another Negatron. This is awkward. We have like a lot of items that like we're going an AP comp. We don't have a single AP item yet. A little awkward to say the least. I think we could pop a Thieves Gloves off, but we could wait to see if there's an armory next turn. I do want to build a tank item. I think it's going to be maybe the Shadow Stone Plate. It's not the best item, but like when you have these as your options, like what else can you do, you know? So we're going to wait for the armory, I think. I guess I popped the Thieves Gloves off right away, but I think I should have waited for the armory. Maybe my thought process was when playing the game, I'm kind of low, so I want to slam items as quickly as possible, which I guess is a valid point, but I really think looking back, because our items were so trash, like we should wait to see if there is an armory next turn. because sometimes there are with like single item components, and that could be really helpful for us. So I think we sell the Syndra here, right? Because we want to keep the Gragas for something else later. I end up not selling anything. I think that's a mistake too. I don't think I need the Syndra. Reason why is because once we hit Ivern, we're going to be selling her right away. So we see the ribbon there. We're going to roll a little bit because we're about to die. We see in Italy, so we could put in the 6 Dawnbringers. So I guess Dawnbringers are just better than these, what do you call it, combos, the 2-star Cavaliers. There's a Kha'Zix, don't need her. We don't need the Syndra because we have Ivern already, like I said before. So again, big mistake before where I did not sell the Syndra. I should have 1 more gold than I do now. There's an Italy 2-star. We get a Soraka pair. The board isn't the worst thing ever, but it's not it's not the best thing ever either. If we get an ability power off this carousel, we will be redeemed, but we are facing a Draven 2 player right now with Shadow IE. Pretty scary stuff. Are we able to snipe him? We are, but he's not quite dead yet from this Karma. 1 more hit. Oh, no. Dude, if any Draven has Bloodthirster, that is a great counter to Karma, because Karma can never do enough damage against Draven unless you get, like, super duper crits. But if you have the Bloodthirster, not only does it give you a little bit of magic resist, which reduces the one-shot potential, but you just heal up all of Karma's damage before she gets her next ultimate off. Lots of Draven's players. I think there are like 3 or 4 Draven players this game, but a lot of Draven too, so it doesn't even matter that they're contested because they already hit. This is actually like a really strong lobby. Like I have Karma 2, everyone has like their 2 cost or 2-star 4 cost carry. Yeah, I'm just not hitting that hard without any ability power on this Karma. Like that Draven should have died a long time ago without a Bloodthirster. But on this carousel, there is an ability power on Rel, so I think that's what I'm going to be going for. Unless this guy snipes it. Had someone taken the ability power, I think I would have taken the Volibear with a tier just to have the Volibear, because Volibear is a very good unit, because we're going Revenants. And with the tier, like, it's not the worst case if it stays on him. It's not the best either, but tier does help him ult faster, so it's not like a completely useless item like a sword on him. All right, so we built the Shadow JG, and okay, we are against a Ranger player with how is this guy still in the game? He's all 1-stars. His entire team, except for Ashe and Varus, are 1-star. But he's at 0 gold, so he must not have had a lot of gold to roll with. I feel a little bad. Oh, this is the guy who went all the tank items, so a little unfortunate for him because he's about to get knocked out. So you guys may have noticed, I could have sold my Karma on my bench, I think twice for interest now. I missed 1 interest a while ago, and then I missed an interest in this most recent round. I ended up holding on to him because this is another guy with all 1-stars. He literally just only has 2-star Nautilus. I ended up holding on to her because if I get 2 Karma 2s, I would just play her on level 8. And there's another guy going for Karma, and he's stuck at Karma 1. That's why I was scouting a bunch before. Are we actually going to lose to this guy? Dude, Thresh is pretty good against Karma if she's in a corner. Okay, thank God. The AoE Karma 3-shot was good enough to knock out his backline. But considering his entire team, except for a Nautilus, is 1-star, is kind of alarming. So this guy who we just beat hit me with the nice econ because he's 50 gold, level 6, and like has a pretty decent team with like 86 health. I really hate people who do that because, like, one, they're just lucky that they got a strong board in the early game. By the way, we're going to get this Karma here to get the get 2 copies of Karma because we're really low. But, like, there's just no reason to BM there because, like, obviously some people have to roll on 3-2 to get a bunch of gold, but whatever. Bothered me a tiny bit, but, you know, some people are just very lonely in life. So after beating this guy, we hit him with the nice econ because he's at level 8, 0 gold, and only 1-star on his board, which means he really mismanaged his econ because he rolled down at level 8 and didn't hit anything, which means he was probably forcing 1 comp and didn't really take any flexible types of parries or units in the game because he made himself weaker by rolling, which is actually really silly to do. But enough of that guy. Let's go into what happens in the game. We get a bunch of gold, we get a Nico, and we get a crit glove, which is pretty decent. And then here we want to level up to level 8. We'll buy the Kindred, buy the Syndra. Here we get presented with a Teemo, which obviously is super, super nice. We're at 50 health, so 3 Teemos cost 18 life, so we'd be at 50 minus 18 is 32. Pretty manageable. That's like 3 lives approximately. We'll go ahead, drop him in. We need the Syndra back. I feel like we should be rolling more. I don't know why I'm chilling so much right now. I definitely should be rolling more right now. Just like a minor mistake on my end there. I'm going to put the glove on Teemo, build a QSS on him. Not the best item, but not the worst as well. Whenever you have like a legendary unit, you don't really have a choice of what items you can put on them, so I just dropped anything I wanted right there, or anything I could. This guy has the Bloodthirster on Draven. I think here is where we see the power of Bloodthirster, because Karma's just not able to kill him. And so if you are playing like an AD comp, if you're a Aphelios or Draven, just build a Bloodthirster, play like 2 Mystics at least, and Karma should be no problem for you, because a lot of people are playing Karma, and I'm sure like I've been releasing a lot of Karma videos lately. I guess from that, like even more people are playing Karma, so just play Draven, drop a Bloodthirster on him, and kind of just be chilling there. I'm gonna roll a little more. We get the Syndra for 4 Invoker if we need it. There's a Syndra too. And there's the Ivern. We need one of our tanks 2-star. That's really what I'm looking for right now. I'm going to sell this Jax, drop him in for the Volibear for Nidalee. And yeah, even though Nidalee's 2-star and Soraka's 1-star, I feel like having the Renewer for Ivern's pretty decent because it gives him a little bit more health, a little bit more mana. But now we could just replace the Soraka with the Heimerdinger if we so choose. I don't know if I should have done that right away, though. I feel like I should have waited a turn before doing that. So I'm going to drop the Stone Plate on the Volibear. I like putting tank items on Garen and Volibear. I think that's the best. I forgot to use my lockets from the Thieves' Gloves, so that's my bad there. I'm going to drop the hat on Teemo. Ooh, Teemo just one-shot that. Or no, Karma one-shot. Karma and Teemo both threw at the Draven at the same time to just one-tap him. So let's just pause for a second. This guy does not have Mystic, so that's why we were able to snipe him like that. Also, like, kind of lucky timing that both of them threw the abilities at the same time. All right, so new shop, not too much here. I need to drop more Dawnbringers. When you go into the 4 Invoker build, you just want to play Syndra and then all 4 and 5 cost units, including all the 4 Invokers. So eventually, I will need to replace both the Nidalee and the Riven, but since I have no gold to roll down for any upgrades right now, I'm just going to keep them in there. And also notice how I'm kind of spread out right now. That's to kind of dodge a bunch of the other AoE effects that a lot of other teams have, because I know there is like a Karma player, there are 2 Heimerdinger players, so you never want to be in the same exact spot as to like all get hit in a line. I think I got hit anyways in a line here, so a little unfortunate there, but you can only do so much. I guess he only has Karma 1-star, so we shouldn't be that afraid of him. His Volibear 2 is quite scary though. All right, we do need a Garen. We're the only Karma build without a Garen right now, so I think I want to go for him. If not, the Redemption on Ivern is really good, or the Spear of Shojin on this Lysandra. Spear of Shojin is just the best item by far on, what's his name? Heimerdinger, but I think we just go for the Garen for now. So we're 20 live. We need to roll down here. Tarek's good. Not really hitting anything else. Gonna do 1 or 2 more rolls. I think we want to drop the Garen in. Sold the Riven. I should have sold Nidalee and kept Riven in, but that's my bad. There's another Karma, so I could sell this guy for Karma. And then we have another Kindred, but not really too much else to put in. We have the Tarek for Knights, I guess. Who do we Thieves' Gloves here? I think we Thieves' Gloves the... Who doesn't have items? So everyone has an item except for Ivern, Tarek, Heimerdinger, and Syndra. So I guess Heimerdinger gets it because he's a legendary. We get incredible items here. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's pretty lucky to get Blue Buff and Jeweled Gauntlet. But Heimerdinger casts when the fight doesn't matter. So I guess the items actually didn't mean anything on him because he had 0 impact this fight. I do have this Nico on my bench. I want to save it for Teemo because he has a bunch of items on him. I'm going to eventually sell this Karma, swap all the items over to Teemo. But because I don't have that yet, I can't use a Nico's quite yet. Okay, there's a Volibear. Do we Nico now? It's debatable to Nico now because this game is super close. We look at the live totals, 49 in first place, 29 in second place, and then 20, 18, 12, which means like these next 2 fights are very critical. Very, very critical. There's a Tarek. I guess we could have gone for Karma 3 this game, but I think I want to drop this Shojin on Teemo, or maybe the Jeweled Gauntlet. Probably Jeweled Gauntlet, and then keep the Shojin and Hand of Justice on this Karma. I miscalculated a little bit, not going to lie, because I forgot I put the Thieves' Gloves on Heimerdinger, which means I can't put the Shojin on Heimerdinger, but I think it actually ended up working out for me. It was unplanned, by the way. I forgot I put Thieves' Gloves on Heimerdinger, but it actually works out because Heimerdinger isn't really that great until you get him to 2-star. So I don't know if it's worth investing 2 items onto a Heimerdinger 1 over a Karma 2. I really don't think it is. So luckily it worked out because, yeah, we really just wanted all the AP items on Teemo because, I mean, Teemo is... he's kind of just hitting like a truck. We could look at the damage charts. Actually, Heimerdinger led the damage charts. I have no idea why, no idea how. Maybe it was a Giant Slayer. Who really knows? All right, we get a Morello, we get a Blue Buff, and a QSS. Unlucky because we want Blue Buff on Teemo. and we're just not allowed to do that anymore. So I guess that's fine. You know, you live and you learn. We'll just mark that off as unlucky. And then let's roll down for this Tarek. We get the Tarek there. And then the only other guy we need is Heimer and Garen. So I guess we'll just roll down to 0 for that because we are on like our last 2 lives right now. For the items, I guess we could blue buff Syndra because her ability is actually pretty useful. And then we could also Morello Syndra because Syndra is... I was thinking about swapping the Heimerdinger items, but like I don't think it's worth it because blue buff isn't that great on Heimer. But maybe I could have QSS and Morello'd him, but Heimerdinger has a built-in Morello, and the reason why you want Morello on like either Garen or Syndra is because they cast much quicker than Heimerdinger, so you get the Morello proc much faster, which means you end up doing more damage in the course of the game. Whereas Heimerdinger, he gets his ult off like 10 seconds into the fight already, so the fight's already over by the time he casts, so the healing debuff doesn't really matter. But yeah, I'm being a little BM to this guy because he was shit-talking me for no reason during stage 3. And it feels kind of good that we are able to knock him out because there's like no reason to trash talk in TFT. It actually came kind of close. I did a preemptive BM, but like the game was actually kind of close. But yeah, question mark ping him a couple times. He got bottom 4, even though he had like amazing start health-wise, but he messed up his transition. So there's that. So in this next fight, we are against a Yasuo 3. The game isn't over yet. So Lee Sin 3, Yasuo 3. Have we like not faced this guy all game? I don't remember there being a Yasuo player, but let's see what our Karma does. And we are able to actually beat him. That is really surprising. Normally like 3-star Yasuo, 3-star Lee Sin, it's generally strong enough to win a game, but I guess not against the Invoker board. The thing is like we're not even 2-star Heimer, we're not even 2-star Teemo, which are our primary carries. So I'm actually really surprised by that. I'm gonna sell this Garen, buy the new Garen, and swap some items over because now we actually have Heimerdinger items. So I'm going to put the Rage Blade on Heimerdinger, Morello on Syndra, QSS on Heimerdinger, Thieves Gloves the Garen, and just settle like that. So this guy's going Forgotten Draven. He's got 2-star Rise with the, what's it called, Shojin, so that's pretty scary as well. Luckily, we don't have a Warmogs against this Giant Slayer, but I think he already procs it on all our frontliners because Shadow Giant Slayer, it works on 1100 health and above, which is pretty much every unit in the game in the late game, even if they're 1-star. So I guess it actually still works on us, which is probably why his Draven does so much damage. All right, so in this last carousel, we probably want a last Heimerdinger item. I think I'm just going to grab the hat. So we just dropped the hat on Heimerdinger. We could buy this Teemo, but are we actually able to get him? I don't know. So what I plan to do at this point is just position around the other guys. I want to hide my Karma away from the Thresh, so that's why I'm going to put my Karma in the middle. You want your Heimer turret opposite of wherever the Thresh is because Heimer's turret cannot get CC'd. And then as for this Teemo, I'm going to buy him if I win the round. If I lose, I will not buy him. But you don't want to buy it too early because you could just knock yourself out preemptively, and that's not good for you because then, well, like you get knocked out of the game for free. So this other Yasuo guy ended up beating us, so that's the fight I was watching because I already knew I would win the fight I was on, so I just gonna buy the Teemo now and go on to the next round. So now we're just gonna roll down for Teemo and Garen. We end up hitting Teemo on the very last roll, putting ourselves at 8 life, but Teemo 2 is gonna be a pretty big upgrade. Oh, he might have won the other round because of the Shroud of Stillness. I want to make sure my Volibear's on the same side as his Yasuo to knock him up. And I want to try to dodge his Thresh with all my units. Try to put his turret in his Thresh. Wait, no, this guy doesn't have Thresh, so we don't need to worry about that anymore. We just need to dodge the Shroud, so I think just splitting up your team is the best. Did I miss the... Oh, man, I missed putting my Teemo on that top right corner. Oh, he didn't get hit. That's lucky for us. If he places Diana in a slightly different spot, I think he could hit all 3 of my backliners, but luckily she wasn't able to do that. So this fight actually ends up being really close. Holy cow. Is it just a second place? Yeah, it's just a second place. All right, good enough, good enough. This guy, again, as I was saying before, we beat him that one time, but Lee Sin 3, Yasuo 3, very, very strong board. So let's move on to game 4, I think it is, and let's keep playing more Karma. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is BunnyMuffins. We just got into another game. This is game 4 now, and in the start, we got a tier off the carousel, and then I pretty much got gold off of the first camp, and we just bought everything in the shop. We got a rod in that drop, and so we have a tier rod. This is great starting items for Karma builds because, I mean, that's exactly what she needs. You could build the Archangels early if you want to try to win streak, or you could save these items for something else. such as a blue buff, Spirit Shojin, or a hat later. I decided to pick up the Warwicks because we have Gragas on the board, so you always want 2 brawlers. Well, not always, but it's something useful to have. If you have 1 brawler, might as well get the second one if it's in your shop. So I want to both level for 4 units, but I also want to play 2 brawlers plus some sort of other synergy that I can play right now. So I think the way to do that is to buy this Lissandra and then sell my 2-star Ziggs and just put her in. Ziggs might be better right now, but I kind of want to hold on to everything else in my bench. The only thing I don't want on my bench right now is a Kalista. I could have sold her, which would have put me at 2 gold, but that isn't quite enough to get to level 4 while still keeping the Ziggs. So here, it's like, do we slam an item? I guess you can, but I'm going to wait 1 more round until the armory. But if you guys slammed like Archangels here or maybe like a Rage Blade, I wouldn't really fault you for that. But since I'm forcing the comp, I think that's why I wanted to get more perfect items before building anything. We lose that round pretty handedly, and here we get either a Shadow Tier or a Belt. So Shadow Tier is useful if you are going for the Hand of Vengeance, which is like the Hand of Justice Shadow version. Belt's really good if you want to go for tank items. Honestly, I think both of them are pretty fair to take here. I went for the Belt because I don't like Dark Blue buff. Someone has told me since I played this game that Dark Blue buff is actually pretty good on Karma, so maybe I'll go ahead and build that in some of my other games in the future. So here we get the Gragas 2-star, which is pretty nice. And then I went ahead and slapped the Rod on Lissandra and the Belt on Warwick. You don't have to slam those items. Like, I'm not really slamming items, I'm just putting the components on people. But since I know I'm 100% selling Lissandra and I'm 100% selling Warwick, and they're pretty decent item holders of them anyways, that's why I went ahead and put the items on them. But you didn't have to do that, but it's just something that you could do. I don't really think it makes that much of a difference in most of these fights. We end up losing to that Vladimir. This next shop, we get Lissandra 2, which is huge, and then we get an additional Soraka. Our gold's a little awkward. We're at 7 gold, so you could consider pre-leveling here. You could also considering selling Kalista and the Warwick if we happen to win this round. You could also consider not doing anything at all. I think the best option would be to pre-level, but I don't think it makes like that much of a difference. We end up losing this round. We are, oh man, losing by 5 units. Let's see if I pre-leveled this game, and I did not. So this time I decided not to. I think it's worth it to just press F 1 time, gain 4 XP, and roll with that. Here we could go for Spatula. We could go for this Rod on the Soraka. This Soraka, I went for that instead of the Spatula because it gives me level 2 Soraka, which is a little awkward because I do want to build a Rabadon's Death Cap. But since I have the item on the other Rod on Lissandra, I can't build the Death Cap. So this is one of those very rare circumstances where you get punished for putting a random item component on someone that you plan to sell, like for sure. But we get a Riven. I'm just going to level up, drop her in, and then probably just chill from here. I love using Soraka as my item holder for Karma because she's pretty easy to get because she's a 2-cost unit. So once you hit a Karma, you can just sell your Soraka, roll down for a new Soraka, and then just play her instead. Or just like hold on to a Soraka during stage 2 or stage 3 if it doesn't cost you interest, just to prepare for that item transfer. But she's a very good holder for it because you could even do like a reroll Soraka comp with Renewers, which is actually pretty fun to do. But we end up winning a round finally, which is pretty okay. I know we lose our streak, but once you have 4 2-stars like what we have here, we have 2-star Soraka, 2-star Warwick, 2-star Gragas, 2-star Lissandra, you're perfectly okay breaking your streak because you're going to start a new one. So this guy has a 2-star Syndra. That one is a little scary. This might be... I guess it's not strong enough to actually put us away, but since we don't have items built, we're actually not that like powerful if we face someone with a lot of upgrades with item slam. But luckily this guy only had 1 2-star and only had 1 item as well. So on this new camp, we have nothing in our shop, so I'll skip ahead. We end up getting a chain. Doesn't really do too much for us. We could slam a Titans if you want to play aggressively. You could put that on maybe the Warwick because Titans is really good on your final tank units such as Garen or Volibear. Garen's probably the best holder for it. I don't think Volibear actually does that much damage, but we'll just slam the item now just because Bow's so useless. Another bow item you could build is ZZ Rod or Static Shiv, which is what we have here. But I like saving the belt to get a Warmogs, and I like saving the tier for Karma, so that's why I opted to go for the Titan's Resolve instead. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, we had 5 item components all unbuilt. Actually 6 item components unbuilt. So I really was forced to build an item there. I know it's a little awkward because the Rod on Lissandra is going on Soraka for the hat. So I guess technically we only had 4 unbuilt items, but even at that point, I love to slam items just to get some value out of the components. Pretty much, if you just accept the fact that your bow is never going to make a good item, even the best item for bow isn't necessarily that worth it to wait out for. I get the Shadow Belt here. We get an Ivern as well, so we could put the belt on Warwick. And then I think we should sell the, or actually just level up, put in Ivern. Later in the future, we could consider selling this Lysandra to put the rod on Soraka because we have a new renewer with Ivern, so we could still buff up our Soraka as our item holder. Against this guy, he's running a Callista with Deathblade, but he's got too few 2-stars compared to us, so I think we are getting an easy win here. New shop. We have a Ribbon there, so we'll probably buy her if we are able to win. This guy, another Callista player. Man, Callista is such a good item holder early game. She holds both attack damage and ability power items and attack speed items. She probably should get nerfed in the future, in my opinion, because she's just way too useful. Combine that with the fact that Abominations are so strong in the early game, she's probably like the best one-cost unit, in my opinion. At least the most versatile. So on this carousel, we have an extra tier, so I probably want to pick up probably the Poppy to get the blue buff, but not able to get that. Maybe the belt or the shadow tier. I opt to go for the shadow tier. So since we have 2 tiers, I'm actually going to do something a little goofy. I'm not sure if it's actually good or not. I think I end up building both Archangel staffs right now, which I think is an okay item on Karma. It's obviously not the best one, but the Shadow Archangels kind of is a like healing item. It's a pseudo healing item, and then the regular Archangels is a pseudo damage item, and they both have tier and ability power. So it has all the stats you need. The effect's just a little odd. Obviously, I'd probably prefer to have a hat and a Shojin, but since I had a Shadow tier and I did not know that Dark Blue buff was playable on Karma at this point of me playing this actual game, I ended up building these items instead. But if you build Dark Blue buff plus the Rabadon's Death Cap, you would have done perfectly fine. So we see an extra Soraka here, so I'm just going to buy it, keep it on my bench. That's pretty much doing what I was talking about earlier, where you just kind of, once you find a new Karma, you just sell your Soraka, replace her with the 1-star copy, and then swap all your items onto Karma. The reason why you want to do that is because Karma 1 is strong enough to stabilize, so you don't really care that you lose your item on a 2-star Soraka. We still do want to replace this Lysandra. I'm just really not sure what to put in instead at this point in the game. Maybe Ivern would have been better, so I probably should have sold this Lysandra to drop in Ivern and put all the items on Soraka. I think that's my mistake here. And are we able to win this round? Barely. We have full 1 streak throughout stage 3, which is huge. Again, we started a new streak before because we had so many 2-stars this game, and that's exactly what I was talking about before. Sometimes you don't want to be afraid of losing your lose streak, because you could always start a win streak after that if you have the right board. Had my board been all 1-stars, and I slammed a bunch of items in order to win the next round, that would have been a grave mistake, but it worked out differently in this case because we had a bunch of 2-stars. Oh man, these items would have been so good if we did not slam the Archangels, but you know, sometimes that happens. So we are rolling down. Not too many Dawnbringers. We're pretty much looking for the 6 Dawnbringer power spike. I probably should have picked up 2 copies of Rel, but there's the Nidalee. I could drop her in. I do want, I did want a copy of Karma because I want to keep my win streak up a little longer, and I want to replace this Lysandra pretty badly, but not able to do that quite yet. I don't know why I'm playing a random Syndra. I must have thought I had Invoker, but clearly I do not, so that is definitely a mistake there. I could build Hand of Justice or Thieves' Gloves. Both items are pretty good. You could also wait just in case there is an Armory on the next turn. But here I'm just scouting if there are other Karma players. There seems to be a couple of them, and there's also a Vel'Koz player who's trying to go into Karma, I'm guessing. Actually, no, he's got a Redeem spat, so he's probably going Vel'Koz. But a bunch of ability power players, so maybe my items are going to be a tiny bit contested. And man, this Vel'Koz lived with 1 HP for my win streak. If I'd played something better than the random Syndra or whatever I put in, probably would have won that. If I had an Ivern in, I think that would have been a lot better. But you know, mistakes happen all the time. Here we could get the Shadow Rod that builds Shadow Jeweled Gauntlet, or it could build another Archangels if you want to have some fun. But I think Shadow Jeweled Gauntlet's probably going to be the best. All right, so I'm going to roll down here. We see another Soraka. There's the Ivern 2-star. I definitely should be replacing this Lysandra. I don't know why she's still in. Please sell the Lysandra, former self. Okay, good, I did. Drop her in, put all the items on Soraka. I should have done this last turn, honestly. This costed me a lot of gold by not doing this, just because, the loss of the lose streak, or the loss of the win streak costed me maybe 6 or 7 gold, maybe even more. This guy is going for a Shojin and Hand of Justice, so this guy's probably going Karma. He just hasn't hit it yet. Because I don't really... I guess you could put those items on, like a Mordekaiser comp with Rise, but I think he definitely would play Karma if he was able to hit it, but he must have not hit any Nightbringers or Dawnbringers in order to, which forced him to pivot into something else, because he's got a Mordekaiser with Hat, which is probably the sign that he is not going for that. But great crit from Soraka there, one-shot the enemy backline. Sometimes lucky, you know. I guess she didn't crit the first time, so I guess it's justice in a way, so we were able to pull a win out here. So now on stage 4-3, we got to start thinking about when we want to go level 8. So probably around 5-1. We could level up to level 8 at 4-5, but we are 73 HP, so maybe we level up and don't roll. Or you could greed all the way throughout all of stage 4. Just depends how much life we lose probably on this round. So we did do a quick scout. We saw a lot of powerful people. Right now we are facing a guy with Karma 1 with pretty good items. Man. That's going to be a little troublesome later. Hopefully we're able to pull out a win this round. Nice. So we are able to save our life. That makes next round pretty hard. Like, do we level up and not roll, or do we wait till 5-1? It's for sure never rolling next turn, but it's like, it's just a question of whether we are leveling up or not. For items here, I think we want to pick up, we want to finish up one of our, maybe our tier item, or get another rod for more damage. Maybe a second Archangels would be pretty useful. So we could get this Kale, try for that. Or maybe build a jeweled gauntlet as well. I actually opt to go for the chain. I wonder why I did that. That doesn't really make much sense. Because, oh, my bad. We already have a jeweled gauntlet. That makes complete sense. So the rod was pretty useless for us because we already had 3 karma items. So we could literally just build anything with this chain vest in terms of defense. Maybe a Shroud of Stillness, maybe a Frozen Heart. But that must have been my thought process there. So this guy, he has a Draven too, so most people are pretty strong. I opted not to level up. We are 44 gold away from leveling, so if we leveled up, we would have had 11 gold, so that's probably not worth it to do. So that's probably why I waited until 5-1 to level up to level 8. Obviously, that does mean we lose this round because this guy rolled to pretty much 0. At level 7, he just happened to hit a Draven 2 with that amount of gold. All right, so now we hit the Karma. That's the insta-replace on our Soraka. Drop her out. Put in our new Soraka, and then put in whoever our last Dawnbringer is, which is a Kha'Zix. That way we get the 6 Dawnbringer power spike, put all the items on Karma. And with these defensive items, you could put it on Riven, you could put it on Gragas. Doesn't really matter who too much. Essentially, once you get Garen, you want to just replace whatever unit has them and just go from there. You could put it on Riven, because Riven's easy. Again, he's like Soraka, he's kind of easy to find in later parts of the game to replace. So you don't have to put it on Gragas if you don't want to, because obviously the Titan's Resolve isn't that great on him. So I'm going to do something a little interesting here. This guy is Karma 2-star, but there's this other guy who is probably going to roll for Karma next turn with 50 gold. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do an early level up and roll down to find the Karmas before he does, because we are going to be fighting for them next round, and I don't want to roll really slowly and not manage to hit them. We hit an additional Karma at least. Not able to hit the other one. Do we make this Taric 2? I think we do, and buy the Vel'Koz, because Taric's a pretty good person to partner up with Garen, which hopefully we're going to get later in the game. We get a Rod there and a Ashe, which we're going to sell. So we're going to finish the roll downs. There's a Heimerdinger. We're going to keep going down probably because we're 1 off. There's another Heimerdinger. Very interesting. We might not even have to go Karma this game. So yeah, drop in Taric. And I guess we kind of chill from there. Not really too much to do. I kind of rolled down to 0, hit nothing, no Karma, so a little unfortunate there. So you guys might be saying like, yo, if you waited 1 more turn, you would have had more gold to roll down with. Honestly, I'd probably only have 2 more rolls, and maybe that does give me that Karma 2-star, but more copies would be taken out of the pool from the other guy, so it is arguable that it's probably around the same odds of hitting Karma. I accidentally shroud my whole team because I'm a monkey in this next play. But, you know, sometimes mistakes happen. I should have put my Gragas on the other side of the board and then shrouded him like that. But, yeah, I'm just like, I guess that's just a brain fart when you're in the moment, I guess. Are we still able to win this? Ooh, this is going to be really close. Lux is actually pretty decent in a one-on-one scenario because she gets the enhanced auto attack after she casts her ability. Are we able to get the new Ivern out? Or Daisy out? Oh, no. See what I mean? She does so much damage on that auto when she comes back. And yeah, we lose this one. So new shop, new armory. We don't really need anything there. So I just grabbed the tier. Tier is useful because you can just put it on a unit so that they use their ultimate faster. So I could drop it on Volibear later. Let's do the roll of the Sentry. Sell the Jax. We hit the Karma. Who do we sell for it? Probably the Syndra. I kind of want to keep Syndra to go into the HIV comp, but I guess I could sell Gragas for the gold. I do need to buy this guy for sure, though. All right, so we have the Karma 2. We're pretty stabilized now. We're at 55 life, so we're looking at probably a top 3 at this point in the game. I do a quick swap, make sure I'm isolating my team from this Gragas with the Shroud of Stillness. I actually don't like Shroud in this comp at all because Soraka ends up casting really quickly anyways, so sometimes they overlap on targets. But I guess this case it worked out really well because Gragas silenced the left half while Soraka silenced the right half or the center people, so that's pretty good. Unfortunately, I'm in a pretty bad positioning against this guy because his Vel'Koz could just snipe my Karma. Is it enough? Yeah, see, he barely did enough damage to my Karma, and he healed up from the Hand of Vengeance, so he wins this round. New shop, nothing much here. I probably want to save up to do a roll down for Garen later. I guess I rolled down here. I think that is a mistake. I must have thought, like, I'm only 1 off of Heimerdinger, but honestly, only rolling for 1 specific legendary unit with 6 gold probably isn't the smartest thing to do. So I go for 4 Renewer, which I guess is possible, but none of my Renewer units have items, so I think this is actually a mistake. If you guys look at my team, I have a Soraka, Ivern, Heimerdinger, and Vladimir as my 4 Renewers. Vladimir's useless, Soraka's a support unit, Ivor's a tank, and Heimerdinger is 1 star with no items. So you don't really need to run 4 Renewers if you don't have anyone as your carry. If I have Heimerdinger 2-star with items, then yeah, go for 4 Renewer. But right now, in this state of my board, I think that is definitely a mistake, and I made my board weaker by doing that, by taking out the 6 Dawnbringer. So just don't make that mistake in your game. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's like, who is your carry? You identify that person, then build synergies around them. My carry is not Heimerdinger, so the Renewer buff is practically worthless. This is a really close fight. Ooh, man, just barely not enough. How did my guy die to the... How did my turret die to Mordekaiser? I'm really confused there. So on this carousel, what do you guys think I should get? Answer's pretty obvious to me. I think it is a Spear of Shojin for the Heimerdinger, or it's a hat for Heimerdinger, or it's getting Volibear for, what's it called, to have Revenant, but I'm pretty sure Spear of Shojin is by far the best option, even though I would consider the other ones. It's pretty much just like a dream carousel, I guess, because no matter what, I'm getting something good. So I reposition a little bit, so now my Chalice of Harmony hits my Heimerdinger instead of my Nidalee, so I probably should have done that in the turn before as well. I Shroud the opposite side of where my team is. Luckily, that's where his Karma is, so that's going to help me a lot. So that should mean I win this round, but we'll see what actually happens, because Karma with Jeweled Gauntlet, as we saw in the other game, counters the mirror matchup. So if he just manages to crit my Karma... Ooh, we managed to get him. All right, nice. So I think that means we win this round. But he could have easily just sniped my Karma and just won this round randomly. I guess that's one of the weaknesses of the Karma comp, is sometimes the RNG of Karma targeting, both your own and your enemies, just can completely decide the round. So we are facing a Draven with a Thieves Glove, Shadow Thieves. Very interesting. So he's going for a Riven carry with no Rivens. How is this guy still in the game? That's what I want to know. His Viego stole my Karma, so that's how he beat me, but I feel like if that didn't happen, this game would not have been close because he does not have a proper carry quite yet. So we'll chalk that off on the chalkboard as like a unlucky roll for this game, I guess, in that specific fight. Let's see, we got a Gunblade, so we could drop that on Heimerdinger because that gives him more ability power. Not really too much else to do with that. I guess Garen might be able to use it if I hit him, but I just don't have a Garen right now. We're going to keep rolling. There's the new Karma in case we want to pivot. But at this point, we're kind of low health, so we probably can't play any sort of Teemo comp. So we are rolling down to 0. There's a Gragas too if I want to swap the items over to someone else. The thing is, like, just no one uses those items, which is pretty unfortunate. We roll past like so many Tarics. We could have had Taric 3-star, but a little unlucky. Okay, so we get the new, what do you call it? The new Garen. So we sell this Gragas, put the items on the Garen. Shroud on... I probably should have put that on Vladimir, honestly, but it's okay. And then I put the Hextech Gunblade on our Heimerdinger. Let's see how he does this fight. Decent ult. Okay. I guess it just depends on the Karmas. We snipe his Karma, so that is perfectly good. We were winning before that, so I guess we probably should deserve to win this round. This guy's got double Shadow Warmogs on his Garen. That's actually such a good build because Garen gets such a huge shield from that, from all that extra health. So new shop. The item here is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a Gargoyle Stone Plate. It's just the most tanky item from that from that shop. The Shadow Stone Plate isn't that great in the late game, and then the other two options just like were kind of irrelevant. So pretty easy choice there. We're gonna roll down. Maybe we get this Heimer 2-star because we are 20 life, so we kind of need it ASAP, and we don't really hit anything there. So I'm just gonna do some scouting. I'm gonna try to get a good shroud on enemy teams and move my team accordingly, just so I don't shroud myself. And yeah, I'm just gonna move him off to the side there. Hopefully we face someone who's positioned on the top right. We do not, and I'm going to drop the extra tank item on this Ivern because he's on the edge. Whenever you have a stone plate, you always want to put it on your character on the edge because that way they get the most value from the item. He somehow triggered my Karma's Dawnbringer proc. I'm not really sure how, but oh, he has a Karma as well. So he just Karma'd my Karma like 10 times. That's exactly what I'm talking about with like Karma RNG. Sometimes you just get screwed. I don't know if you guys noticed as well, like I typed in chat like, is Titans bugged? My Titans kind of got stuck at like less than 25 stacks. It must be Garen's shield that's causing that. I didn't know shields didn't count towards Titan stacks. Maybe it's a bug, maybe it's the shield, I'm not really sure. But I always thought shields did, or damage when you are shielded did count towards Titan stacks, but I guess not. So I need to swap this Garen over or the back of my team back to the other side. And so I end up doing that. I need to reposition my Riven. So this guy's playing Draven. He's the Shadow Thieves guy. He rolls a QSS and a Deathblade, but I honestly don't know how this guy made it so far. He got 5th place without a Riven 3, running 3 items on Riven, which is really, really baffling because if I were him, I would have placed all the Riven items on my Draven and then put the Shadow Thieves on my Riven. It makes much more sense that way. Maybe he didn't have a chance to kind of work out his team in that sense, but lucky for us, that means we get a 3rd place because of that, so I'm not going to complain too much. So now we are in a 1v1. I guess I got 2nd, so I'm going to grab the Redemption. There's this weird thing going on. It's like delayed deaths that happen all the time. I don't know what it is, but like sometimes like you take player damage and then you take 2 more. And I've counted it up before. You do take the damage that you're supposed to take. It just happens at a delayed point. So I'm going to drop this Redemption on Taric. Taric always gets Redemption. And we are going to scout. I probably made a mistake here. I think I should have sold my Garen to replace it with the Garen on my bench. The reason why I want to do that is because you get to replace your Shroud, which is very important in this matchup because I probably want to hit his front line. So instead of trying to go for his Vel'Koz, I should just place my Garen in the center to shroud his Garen, but I failed to do that this round. I still got Rel, which I guess is an okay target, but I never like having Garen on the side of the board. This guy has a Vel'Koz. He didn't quite hit my team yet. This isn't the guy with a Karma, is it? Oh, he sold his Karma because he got Garen 2-star. Very interesting there. I think he wins this though, so I guess we'll chalk that up as a 2nd place. So GG's there. Let's go on to game number 5. All right, we are off into game number 5. So this game is going to be more typical of what you do when you get a Karma game, which is going to be the 6 Dawnbringer build. I know I've been skirting around into different builds, but I just like to show those games because you don't always get the 6 Dawnbringer build. So I hope that that helps you guys to see what happens if like you don't get like the perfect transition into Karma, or like you don't get the Garen on time, or you don't get like the Teemo late game, for example. But this game, it's going to be more standard. Obviously, the late game cap of that build is going to be a little more limited, and sometimes you just use it in order to kind of secure top 4. So that's what we are going to do this game. We get a Nico to start it off. I'm going to buy the Kha'Zix because he's a Dawnbringer unit, and here we get Gragas and Soraka, so perfectly fine there. I'm just going to drop them in. Do I want to level up? I could sell Trundle, Poppy, and Ziggs to level up. I think I do that because I'm going to build an item because we have blue buff. So I slammed the blue buff on my Soraka. You could put it on Soraka or Lissandra. I think both are fine. Honestly, it's like, doesn't make that much of a difference. Like it's better on the Soraka, but you don't have to care about that because if you put it on Lissandra, you could always sell her later and put it on someone else. Sometimes you just randomly get an early Karma because you could get 4 cost units as early as level 5. And sometimes like that just happens. So you could just sell your Lissandra instead of your Soraka and keep all the Dawnbringer buffs. So in the next shop, we get the choice of Rod or Shadow Chain. Easy choice there because we want Rod for Karma items. So I am just going to slam the Jeweled Gauntlet because that is a very usable item on her. I know. You guys are going to say like Hat is the better item on Karma, or like, dude, you told me in your Karma guide that Hat's the best item on her. Jeweled Gauntlet is very serviceable. It's like one of the tier 1 items on Karma. And just because it is able to be built really early, that's why I go ahead and build it. I don't want to greed the item to try to get Hat because just because it is the better item. If I'm able to get a power spike from it right now or save like 2 health in this fight, maybe 4 health in another fight, that alone is worth building the Jeweled Gauntlet over the hat for. So this guy is going Avaris with a Shadow Zeeks. Oh no, don't do it. Okay, nice. We're able to squeeze that win out. Do we want to play Syndra or something like that? I'm not really too sure. Maybe not yet. You could have also bought the Katarina and play Katarina plus Kha'Zix instead of the Soraka and Lissandra. That is an option as well. So I went ahead and sold all the useless units on my bench to get to 10 gold. We want to keep the Dawnbringers, and I guess I can hold on to Vladimir if I get him 2-star because I could play him over Lissandra just in case I hit it. But this guy's playing LeBlanc. He stunned both our units, but LeBlanc is a joke of a unit after they nerfed her so many times. She does like 0 damage now, even with a rod on her. So I think we just end up winning this game because of that. It's gonna take a while, I guess. Maybe... okay, nice. We are last pick on Carousel because we won too much. We want the rod. That got taken. Tier is pretty useful. And then after that, probably Belt. Maybe Belt's better than Tier because we already have 2 offensive items, so we just want the Belt to start building up some defense items. Not like we have a choice since we're last pick. Come on. Nice, we get the Belt. So here I'm gonna sell my Hecarim, probably level up because we are on a win streak, and just add in something random. So out of my choices here, I just drop in the Kha'Zix because he is a Dawnbringer unit. And when you have traits, like sometimes you just want to add in the extra character because they share that trait. He still gets a Dawnbringer heal even though he doesn't provide an additional trait benefit. We are facing a guy who is piss weak. He's got 1-star everything. Wait a minute. We are piss weak. We have 1-star everything too. Okay, I guess we lose this one. I thought we were stronger than we were. How did we end up winning the first 3 rounds if we're like this weak? I don't really know. I guess everyone else was just that much weaker, but we'd pick up the Kha'Zix 2-star there. I forgot to buy the Vlad in the last shop, don't ask me why. Alright, this last guy, he's got a Sunfire Cape. He is going for some sort of Abomination build, I'm guessing, but he's playing Brawlers in the front line for now. I think he wins because he has a Sunfire because we don't have enough damage because we are all like AoE damage, but he just heals up so much from the Warwick. Yeah, we get smashed. Alright, so 3-2 in stage 2. Not the best, not the worst. At least we kind of got a mini streak going both ways. So I guess it's not the end of the world. So we get a Riven there. We also have to consider, we had a Nico in this game, and when you have a Nico in the early game, you typically have less gold than you normally would. We get a bow there, and then this gold orb gives us another Nico. That makes the game very interesting, because now we have 2 choices. We could play for like a very fast top 4 by getting a Karma and then just double Nicoing her, or we could greed for like a Teemo. I like greeding for Teemo personally, but let's see how the game plays out. I actually forgot what exactly happened this game, so your guess is as good as mine. I just remembered that we played a normal Dawnbringer comp this game. Because I think in the other games we've seen so far, like sometimes I play 4 Dawnbringers, sometimes I play the Invoker build, but of course I still need to show the standard way of playing this. This guy's got a Dragon Claw, so I guess we are going to get smashed. Okay, I guess we didn't get smashed. We lost by 2 units, which isn't horrible. So new round, I'm going to get the Shadow Rod. That builds us a Shadow Hat on our Soraka, so we pretty much have perfect items on Karma. I'm going to level up. Do you roll? We are at 80 life. We only have 1 2-star. I think I should have rolled here. I end up not doing it. I'm pretty sure I should have rolled. How much to roll? That's hard to answer because it depends on what we hit, but I think rolling at least 10 gold would have been well worth it here. We don't have any pairs, which makes it a little awkward or makes a decision a little harder, but I think like we're going to lose these next 4 rounds pretty handedly. Just because we have all 1-stars on our board except for Kha'Zix, which is our least important unit. So we lost by 6 units here, so immediately after 1 fight, we go from 80 to 67. So 80 health feels like such a safe spot, right? Like, we look at our life total, we're like, oh, we're at 80, we're chilling, right? You're pretty much always at 80 at the start of the game. But then you reach 67 and you're like, damn, I got 3 more rounds before the neutral round. I am pretty screwed. So just based off of that, like, I know hindsight is 20/20, especially in a game like Teamfight Tactics, but like, I feel like I definitely should have rolled because I'm just gonna have a piss weak board for 3 more rounds. I'm gonna lose like 15 HP per round, maybe a little less, like 10 to 15, so maybe 12. So 12 times 3 is 36. 36 minus 67. We're gonna be potentially at 31 life at the end of Wolf Camp, which is, well, you don't want to be there. So the one benefit from this, I guess, is we could have hit a Karma on this carousel with a perfect item, but we don't end up doing that. So I think we grab a belt. Nope, there's no belt. That makes the decision a little harder. We do want some sort of tank item. The only tank items on this carousel were a Negatron and a Shadow Chain. I don't really like Negatron Cloak that much in this meta, so I guess we just grab the Shadow Chain. Maybe we could build a Shadow Locket in case we get an extra rod later. So there's the Ivern. That's pretty good. We'll drop him in over the Lysandra. And again, like, full 1-star board. Also, I replaced Warwick with Nunu, but like still, full 1-star board. We're just going to be taking a dicking for like 2 more rounds. I guess we get the lose streak gold, but I don't really want to justify it that way because we're going to be at 30 life, and that's just not comfortable at all. It's especially rough because we have 2 Nikos, so the longer these Nikos sit on our bench, the less value we get from this. So don't make this mistake, guys. If you have Nikos, you need to be using them as early as possible, and doing a roll down on level 6 when you're full 1-star is definitely a time to do it. If I had 2 stars, like, no harm, no foul, save the Nikos for the Teemos, but I'm just so much lower like resources than other people because I got Nikos instead of something else. Like on average, at least. You just need to use them as early as possible. Not much more to say about that. We are facing, man, there are a lot of assassins. Assassins are rough for Karma builds because, I mean, you throw Karma isolated in the back, and she's just going to get eaten over and over. So this is not a good sign. I think this is like the 3rd assassin player we played. Hopefully one of them transitions out of it because frankly, right now, on this patch, in this meta, assassins are not that strong. All right, so I leveled up to level 7. We get a Katarina, we get a Tear, we get a Belt, and a Negatron. That is perfect. We get a Warmogs plus maybe a Chalice. So there's a Soraka 2. I think I'm going to sell her because, oh, made a mistake. I forgot to drag her off onto the board. Unfortunate. Because I was thinking, like, maybe I hit Karma, and then I just want the items on Karma. But I'm going to roll down a little more. I'm holding on to the 2 Mordekaisers just in case I, like, get a perfect Draven, for example, but I'm probably not going to end up building that. I could also just play Mordekaiser for 1 or 2 rounds. There's an Ivor 2. There's a Riven 2. Good thing I held on to that Soraka because, like, damn, just don't hit Karma when I roll, like, 30, 40 gold. I'm going to drop the Warmogs on the Nunu. Probably want to Chalice someone or build the Gargoyle Stoneplate, the Shadow version. I'm not a big fan of that item, but like sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. This guy's running Varus with the Shadow Zeeks and the Rage Blade. That is a ton of attack speed. We end up winning this round though, which is good for us. That ended our streak, but we're at 37 life. Not looking too hot. I still have not used my Nikos yet because I haven't gotten anything like Nico worthy. Ooh, probably here it's the chain for Gargoyles. You guys know how much I'm a big fan of the Gargoyles Warmogs combo. I think it's just that. Let's see what I end up picking. I do get the chain. I'm also going to drop in the Syndra, build the Chalice on her just to use more of my items. I guess I didn't build the Gargoyles then. Wait a minute. That is interesting. I feel like I should have built the Gargoyles, but I guess if I built the Gargoyles, I would have had to build a Frozen Heart or something like that. I don't really have a Frozen Heart user. Maybe this way is better than the one I said. Like, when I played in game, I think this is the better version. Now that I look back on it. As good as Gargoyles is, getting 2 decent items is better than getting 1 good item and 1 bad item. Because Chalice is pretty good on Karma, because Karma has low AP because she doesn't get it from her traits. And then Shadow Titan's Resolve, it's not the best, but like with a bow, you can never really ask for anything that great. The reason why I built Shadow Titans instead of regular Titans is because I feel like the Shadow Chain is a little less versatile than the regular chain. Even though regular Titans is probably better on Garen, but I don't even have Garen yet, so that is another reason not to build that quite yet. So we are able to gang up on this Gragas and secure a win there. So we are on a 3-game winner with a bunch of gold. So we ecoed back up. We still have the 2 Nico, so we could hit like an insane power spike if we just get a legendary unit or a Karma. I am first pick on this carousel. What would you guys take here? I'm actually not too sure. Maybe it's a Negatron. I got the Heimer thinking I might double Nico it, but that's a mistake in my opinion because I just don't have Heimerdinger items. Like, Jeweled Gauntlet is good and Hat is good on him, but I don't have attack speed items. I don't have mana regeneration items. Blue buff is okay, but you really want a Shojin on Heimerdinger. So I think it's a big mistake getting him. Obviously, building a Thornmail isn't the end of the world, but I feel like the other tank item, the Stoneplate, is better than Thornmail or Bramblevest. We are facing a Draven. Against this guy, Bramblevest is better, but not against most other teams. Oh, that Rise has dark blue buff. He is going to scale so hard into the late game here. And do we run out of damage? Oh, not enough. Man, This is why you need anti-healing every now and then, and this is why Draven is so good against Karma builds. I know we don't have Karma yet, but oftentimes you hit him, he's running Mystics most likely, because he's running Rise plus something else, and then he just heals all the way back up from the Cloak, which gives more magic resist from the Bloodthirster, and then of course the Bloodthirster heal itself. So just really rough matchup, and he has a proper build for it, and we don't have anti-heal against that. I don't normally like building anti-heal in Soraka builds, or not Soraka builds, Karma builds, but that is one of the counters, the Draven builds. That's why Draven, even though he was kind of in a weak spot before this patch, he kind of found a place because he does pretty decently against Karma. Ooh, Nunu with the nice eat there, saving me a couple bit more life points. And we still lose, but that is fine. We are at 25 now. Dangerous territory, but we made it to Wraith Camp, so we can level up and do a big roll down on level 8, trying to look for this Karma. But we rolled down on 7, weren't that fortunate. Maybe we hit a random Teemo because we have 2 Nico, so we could definitely consider that, because Teemo with those items on Soraka does some scary stuff for the enemy team, not for us. But let's roll down here. I still don't have Gragas 2. There's a new copy of Soraka. Gonna roll down some more. Nothing there. There's a Volibear. I could drop him in potentially. There's a Gragas 2. There's a Gragas 2. I could play 4 Brawler if I want, but that's not what I'm looking for. I need to get a carry. Should I have run Vel'Koz here? That is the question, because he could kind of use those items. It's not that great. There's a Karma. I'm going to drop her in. Do I get the double Nico off in time? You know, at this point in the game, I wish I didn't have to double Nico Karma because it's a little too late for that. However, I'm 25 life, so I'm kind of playing for like just not 7th at this point, and my team is actually pretty strong here. But I was hoping to hit maybe 2 Karmas, Nico, use 1 Nico on her, and then save the last Nico for maybe like a Garen 2-star or a Volibear 2-star. It's just sometimes the cards don't play out that way. All right, interesting shop here because none of this is useful. All the spatulas are useless for us, so I guess we go for a Rage Blade. I'm going to replace the Nunu because we could play 4 Invoker. Actually, I don't have the Invokers. I guess I'm playing 6 Dawnbringer instead. So we're going to roll down. We're going to try to get some other stuff. There is the Garen. So again, like, would have been much better to have it that way. I replace a Kha'Zix, drop him in front, and then drop all the items on this Garoon. All right, Titans, Bramble, and Warmogs is going to do just fine. I guess Bramble on the other dude is fine too, just to make sure he ultimates. I like putting Chalice on Soraka because that way she ults faster to silence people. And then Rage Blade, honestly, who cares who gets that item here? Here, I think I should put that on Volibear or Soraka. Both work, but I feel like I should put it on someone. This guy is running Riven. Is that a Riven in the back smacking everyone? Ooh, did we actually? Ooh, never mind. I thought we were losing that one, but we got a huge spike in damage from this Karma because she just lived all the time in the back, and sometimes you crit, and when they don't have Dawnbringer, it actually kills them, so that is great for us. 22,000 damage from this Karma. Absolutely insane. So, new shop. We are at 25 health. We are actually middle of the pack now. This is a very tight lobby, which means you could argue we could roll a little more, but we just don't have any pairs of anything important. We have a pair of Sorakas, that's about it. I think we could wait until we natural a pair and then roll after that, just to give us slightly better odds of hitting. This guy's running a Bloodthirster Draven as well. Dude, what happened to my Karma? He died to Katarina and Thresh. Yikes. Ah, man. All the Dravens, they like run stuff that's so good against Karma. Like, I need to reposition. Hopefully I remember to do that in this game. So in this carousel, I guess just the Teemo with the Chalice. Like, extra Chalice is always nice. Probably could go like 4 Invoker in the super late game as well. But we can't get Teemo 2 because we are like almost dead. I mean, I guess we could buy it, but we're probably not going to hit it in this amount of rolls. There's Garen. Oh man, do I buy this? Ah, I skip it. I don't know. Like, I just can't afford the Teemo build this game, I guess. Would you guys have bought that Teemo? Let me know down in the comments because I'm actually pretty curious. Make sure you, oh yeah, by the way guys, when you do comment on this video, make sure to timestamp if you have like a question or you want to talk about a specific play, because obviously this is a 3-hour video, so you can't just say like, oh, you should have bought Teemo there, because I'm not gonna know which game you were talking about. Dude, this again, my Karma died. Man, I did not reposition, but like his Thresh has no items, so how is he killing my Karma? Luckily, I still won, but like we gotta be careful. Okay, I didn't win, but we gotta be careful about that, even though it's a 1-unit loss, because That happened twice now, so I should have learned after the first one. Well, never mind. I should have learned, or I should know before even entering the game to be careful of that. But after this, it's like, after it happens once, and I know there are a lot of Draven players, I should have swapped my Karma into the center much earlier than I had in this game. All right, so we got a reroll Yasuo player. He's a couple units off. He got Shroud and Trap Claw on his Diana, which is amazing against me. Luckily, his Shroud didn't hit anything too crazy. All right, our Karma killed the Yasuo, which is really nice. So I think that gives us a little more breathing room in this game. We got kind of lucky. Karma didn't just hit the Diana with her ultimate and get stunned by it, so that is huge for us. That guy's almost knocked out. Not quite, though. I locked my shop to buy this Volibear, just FYI. I probably shouldn't have done that last roll, but you know, it's too late now. Let's roll down a little bit. Just pray that we get one of these legendaries. That's what Nico's for. Nico's great for getting these last legendaries, but you guys know the story already. We just weren't able to save our Nikos for something else. You know what's hilarious? Ever since we hit the first Karma, I don't think we've seen another Karma. So I actually don't regret this Nico from like that sense, even though I needed to Nico just to stay alive in the game. I'm going to put my Volibear in front of the enemy teams. That's pretty much all you need to do right now. I'm going to keep my Karma not on the edge so that she doesn't get thresh hooked. And this guy, oh no, it's the Katarina again. Maybe Katarina's enough to kill my Karma. Who really knows? Good hit there by both Volibear and my Karma. Okay, great hit again. She sniped them both. Maybe I got lucky in this fight. Maybe. Ooh, Karma's still alive. All right, nice. So we knock him out. We got top 4 from that, which is, you know, with that start where we made a huge mistake by not rolling on level 6, I can't ask for more than a 4th place, you know? Oh, we got 3rd, actually, so that's even better. Like, obviously, you want to always try to win or something like that, but that's just not possible in every game. Plus, I made a big mistake this game. All right, I need to see that in instant replay. So this guy's Katarina is on my backline. Understandable, she's an assassin. But then you're telling me, what even hit her? Did Draven's Runons hit her? And then the Thresh Hook kills him? Oh, Rise hit her and Thresh Hook was enough to kill my Karma. Can you guys believe that? I cannot believe that at all. That is complete donkey nonsense. It literally, like, maybe we could play this in slow motion or whatever, but like, did I really just die to Rise ult plus a Thresh Hook? Because I guess, is that a Draven hit on her? I can't really tell from the animation. All right, let's look at Draven closely. So Draven is targeting my Garen, and no one is on my Karma. So I don't know, guys. Your guess is as good as mine. If you guys are able to slow it down even more, like, let me know. But I guess we just get a 3rd place this game, which again is fine because we made a huge mistake. So that is all fine and good. But let's hop into the last game of how we did in Masters. Type in the comments hashtag game 6 if you guys made it all the way through. But essentially what is going to happen is this game is going to be a little wild because there are some games you don't hit Karma at all. I know we are forcing Karma, but you know, sometimes that isn't what happens in real life because there's a thing called randomness, and sometimes that happens in a video game. So we are going to have a lot of gold this game because we got Lux and Morgana right off the bat. So we do want to try to make interest. I feel like I should have sold everyone except for Warwick to make interest because that would have been enough, and I think Warwick is strong enough to solo these mobs. So that is mistake number 1 right there off the bat. I get bailed out, so lucky me. So we are in the new shop. I'm going to pick up Thresh, put him in, get the Vayne. Maybe we could play some sort of, what do you call it? Forgotten start. Don't really have to do too much, or maybe like a Vanguard start with the Poppy and the Thresh. All right, so on this, we get even more gold. Wow, this is so much gold. Is that enough gold if I sold everything there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, not enough gold to get up to 20. So we buy that, and then we replace our team. I think I want to make it up to 20 this round, though. Just because we don't have items, we can't guarantee a win. Or not guarantee, we can't even get close to a win. I'm pretty sure I want to sell up to 20 and just play like 2 brawlers or something instead of this Kha'Zix, and just chill from there. So yeah, we're going to sell the Thresh, we're going to sell the Vayne, and yeah, we're just at 20 gold now. So we are going to be pretty rich this game, which is the opposite of last game, actually, because we got a bunch of Nikos. I don't think we were that poor in last game, but we definitely weren't rich. This game, we are definitely going to be rich. This guy built a Warmogs already, so we just lose by default there. I actually kind of griefed him, because maybe he was playing for a lose streak, and because of that, like, I might have screwed him over, who knows. So this shop, 2 tiers. I'm going to get the regular tier because blue buff is a great karma item, so no brainer there. Do we level up here? That is the question. So either level up or make it to 30 gold. I don't really know which play is better. Maybe it's make it to 30 gold. The thing is, if we do 30 gold, we lose 2 pairs, which are going to save us a lot of health in stage 3. So it might not be worth it in the long run to do that. So I think I should have leveled up here. But we lose to this guy. He is going to smash us by 4 units. All right, new shop here. I am going to buy this Warwick, obviously. That's, again, since we kept the pair, we got rewarded. Drop in a Riven. We could drop Kha'Zix or maybe a, what's it called, Legionnaire. So we'll put in Aatrox and kind of chill from there. And we can also sell everyone else to get to 30 gold. So we'll sell both the Cavaliers and the Thresh. So this guy, he's all 1-star, so we should win this. We have 1 2-star, right? So according to math, we win. But it's actually looking a little close despite all that because, oh no, his Gragas was able to get his ult off, but I think we are able to secure the win there. So that ends our lose streak, which might be good, might be bad, depends on our next shop. Actually, we lost. Dude, how did that Soraka and the other guy 2v3? That is insane. All right, so we want a Rod here, so probably the Lulu would be pretty good. That way we could, or a tank item by getting the belt on Lee Sin. I think both of those would be my first choices. I think the Rod's a little better though because you need some sort of ability power on Karma. All right, so we get a Aatrox 2, we get another Riven. Not quite too much else to do yet. We could level up because we are at 38 gold and it only costs 8 gold to level up and then just drop in the extra Riven. The only awkward part about all this is that we just can't build items yet. No one really uses the blue buff that well. I guess Aatrox, you kind of could put it on him, but he doesn't really use it that well, so there's not much value in doing that. Let's see if we are able to pull a dub out here. Again, it's looking close, but I spoke too early last round, but I think now it is safe to say that we finish our lose streak for sure, which makes me kind of wish that we won the previous round as well, even though it was so incredibly close. So 39 gold, nothing good in our shop. We are facing a guy playing Hellions, and this fight is also really close, but I think we lose out on this because his Ziggs lived with 1 HP, which allowed him to launch a bunch of bombs at my Aatrox. So I sell 1 dude to get up to 40 gold. Again, we are super rich. We are level 5 with like 50 gold at this point in the game, so despite losing 1 and 4 with like not a good streak going into neutral camps, like we are in a very good spot this game. We get a chain there, we get a bit of gold. Like 82 life is a lot. I'll tell you that because you're only really concerned if you're in the 70 range. Because right after this, I'm gonna level up to level 6, get something good on the armory hopefully, and then just roll down, get some 2 stars and stabilize there. And I won't even be behind that much compared to other people, just because I collected interest ever since stage 1. I'm going to slam the Shadow Locket on this Warwick. Shadow Locket is an incredibly underrated item right now. I think they are actually going to nerf it. I only see high elo players build this. I never see this when my friends play, both from my friends not building it and from people in their game not building it, but this item is actually hidden OP. You put it in your front line, and they gain less mana, but they become so incredibly tanky. So you pretty much have 5 main tanks instead of just one of them whenever you build this item. It is absolutely nuts. I know their abilities, they don't cast as quickly because they get less mana, but are you ever like, oh man, like I lost because my like frontliner didn't cast their ability? It happens sometimes if you have maybe like a Garen or a Mordekaiser, but I'm not running any of those right now. When I'm playing the Karma comp, my frontline is only Garen and Volibear really care about it. But even then, like they're so tanky that they're still going to be able to cast. It's just going to be a tiny bit later. So we are going to level up, drop a Soraka in. We got the 4 Dawnbringer. This is pretty much the dream right now. Do we need to roll? I think we should roll, but I guess I opt not to here. I feel like I should roll. We only have 3 2-stars. I guess with the Shadow Locket, it's enough though. That's the great thing about Shadow Locket. Look at this guy. He's got 3 items. He's got a 2-star set, but don't underestimate this item because like if we do end up losing this, I don't even think it'll be by that much. This guy, so he's got a bunch of brawlers, so he's got a ton of health, which is really good against my Soraka. But look, this game is really close, but I think we were able to squeeze out a loss by 1 unit, which honestly isn't that bad considering we have 20 more gold than him. He's got 12 or 8 more health than us, but that's pretty much nothing. We get an extra Nidalee there. To roll or not to roll? Maybe we could roll all in on level 7 next turn. Contrary to the game before where we were all 1-star, we actually do have 3 2-stars in this game, so that's why it's a little different if you want to compare last game with this game. And we also have the Shadow Locket, which again makes our team so tanky. Like all our frontliners are just complete monsters right now. And this guy with an Aphelios with 2 items, like theoretically on paper, I think he should destroy us, but with this build, we're only losing by 1 unit, it seems. So 2 1-unit losses, can't really complain too much about that, considering we saved ourselves maybe like 6 gold so far by not rolling. On this carousel, what do we want? We have 2 tiers. I probably want a rod, is what I'm guessing. No rods here. I guess we could grab a belt. I guess a belt is fine, or a crit would be good too. But we opt for the belt here. Crit's fine too. You could build Hand of Justice with that. We do have a abundance of tank items, so we probably don't want too many more of those because we need to focus on damage. But we're going to do a couple rolls here. We see a Rel, and we're just going to roll down till we are at like a stable state. There's a Nautilus as well that I can play. Maybe 1 or 2 more times. There's a Rise. Are we able to fit it on our bench? Ooh, and there is a Teemo. I'm going to go ahead and buy him. And I guess because of that, we are not playing Karma anymore. I'm going to sell everyone, play Teemo. We're going to play the 4 Invoker build. I guess we still need Karma because she's an Invoker. But hitting this Teemo, hilarious because he stabilizes so quickly. But honestly, guys, if that was a Karma, we'd be chilling in just the same spot anyways. And Karma is a 4-cost unit. Is it really lucky that we get a Teemo? Probably, but like there are a lot of other things that could have been outs instead, so it's not like mandatory that we hit a Teemo in this particular round, but I'm going to welcome it, I'm going to welcome it. Sometimes this happens. This guy has a Bramblevest Redemption on his Leona, but not enough to tank against our team. And again, look at our front line. Like Teemo didn't even do that much damage. He did 4,000, which again is the most on my team, but he took a while to do that damage, and it's all because my front line is so incredibly tanky from the Shadow Locket. I cannot praise it enough. So I'm going to shuffle my team around. I've ended up putting in the Nautilus over one of the extra units that I randomly had in because I ran out of time last turn. That's going to give me Ironclad, which gives my team, again, even more resistances, which is going to be very welcome. This guy's got a Kennen who is almost destroying my backline until Rel saved my Teemo. Rel is just, she feels so good and so strong. Like, she might need to be nerfed. I'm not really too sure. Ooh, Syndra gets a nice combination there. I think we end up losing this, though. So, damn, that kind of sucks because I wanted to start a streak going into stage 4, but, going 2 and 3 on stage 3 while having so much gold. We're level 740 gold. Can't complain about that at all. There's the Riven that we could have got. We could have had Riven 2-star, but not this game. All right, so items. We get a Negatron, we get some gold, and we get a sword. Not that useful. Not that useful. I guess GA could be something that could be built. Maybe we want to play Hellion. Do we want to roll on level 7 or level 8? I feel like we should be rolling right now because we're all 1-star at 4-1. Everyone's about to spike. So if I do not roll here, I definitely think that is a mistake. Because if we wait to go to level 8 on stage 4-5, that is 3 rounds from now. So we're going to suffer around like 35 HP in losses, which would bring us down to 30 HP. Which I guess actually that's pretty doable at that stage in the game. So maybe it is worth it to do a fast 8 here instead of rolling. Because again, last time I'll say it, I swear, Shadow Locket makes us so tanky, so our losses aren't even that big. But this guy's got 2-star Ivern, he's got a Karma, so I think he ends up destroying us. Ooh, Teemo missed there. Come on, one more ult, Teemo, one more ult. I don't know why I'm like asking for the ults, because this game is already played. It's not like me saying anything can change anything. 4-unit loss, so we were at, what, 67 before, so I think we lost 14 from that. Maybe I wasn't at 67, maybe I miscounted. There is an Ironclad Spatula, that's pretty much the only useful thing in that shop. Shadow Last Whisper has some uses, but there's so many other ways to get magic resistance penetration that you don't really need that item. Alright, so we get a Kindred, gonna drop her in because she is a better Mystic unit than the Morgana. Probably gonna sell the Morgana and put the Shadow Locket on someone else. There's finally our first 2-star. And there is another Teemo. I guess we buy that because we want to play Teemo. We want to play Teemo. There's a pair of Lulus, and then sell the Locket, put it on someone in the front. Hopefully, I should put it on Kled because Kled I'm going to be selling, but instead I put it on the Ivern because I ran out of time, and honestly I can't afford to skip a round of getting item value. So there is that. I probably should be building something here though. Maybe a Zeke's, maybe a GA, probably a GA or Stoneplate. Actually I should build Stoneplate. I don't know why I hold off on building that at this point in the game. I could just put it on Kled and then sell him once I get a better item holder. But are we able to win here? Man, this guy's level 750 gold. So he is definitely doing some sort of fast 8 strategy. So it's good that we face him there because that means he is really weak because he hasn't spent anything. But there's the Heimerdinger. I'm going to go ahead and play him. We're kind of naturaling HIV, but again, we only have 1 2-star, so we're not out of the woods yet. I ended up dropping in Heimerdinger over the Rise. I feel like getting Hellion is worth it because then Teemo ults faster. And maybe not. Maybe Hellion isn't worth it. Maybe I should have taken out, what's it called? The Kled for the Rise instead. I guess it doesn't make that much of a difference, though. Heimerdinger gets a pretty decent ult there. We proc the Nightbringer buff on the Aphelios, who is 2-star, so this guy's really, really strong. I wish I was him instead of me. And, wow. Heimerdinger's turret was able to pull that through with no items on Heimerdinger. Only 2 renewers. So what item do we want here? We want a regular tier for Heimerdinger. Not able to get that. We still could go for a Teemo item. Or just get a Garen just to get a Garen, because we could just drop a GA on him and be happy with that. So I think sell the Kled, drop in Garen. We could also build, we did build the stone plate on the Rel, and yeah, I guess we could wait a turn, greed the item, but I feel like GA on Garen is too good to pass up on. The reason why GA is so good on him is that when he spawns, he's normally full mana whenever he dies, because maybe he got crowd controlled and that's why he couldn't ultimate. But then he just respawns, ults, gains a bunch of health, and just uses that to really become super tanky. So I think I should have just slammed the item here to get more value out of it. And we are able to beat him, though, because Teemo slows attack speed with his ability, and Draven just never got online. And we have like 3 Ironclad as well against a Draven comp with no Last Whisper, so he does 0 damage to us. New shop, we get a Karma. Okay, 4-6, a little late for that. We can't even play... We can't even play her quite yet. Actually, we do have 4 Invokers, but what do we take out for this? It's really hard to say. Like, I end up selling my Syndra. I guess I'm just not playing 4 Invoker this game. Maybe it's really only worth it if you get a Heimer 2-star, because we have the Ironclad Spatula, which makes this team so awkward to kind of play around. We also have a Lulu 2 with the Kindred to give us Mystic, so it's not like we could just replace our only 2-star with 4 Invoker. I don't think that's quite worth it, but whatever the case, we are pretty stable here, more or less. Like, our tanks are tanky. We have consistent DPS in the back line. We have percent damage with Heimerdinger's turret. So we can eventually whittle everything down. It's kind of like a semi-stall comp right now, but not like super stally like a Kale build. I'm going to buy these Terex. We could replace Nautilus later with him, just because the Ironclad buff, even though it's great, we don't really need it. I'd rather have a Taric because he honestly heals for so much and is a much better unit than this naughty boy. So we are going to roll down. Hopefully we get some 2-stars. We have a lot of pairs. There's the Karma. The one thing we don't need. I don't think I should sell Karma to, or sell Teemo to put the items on Karma because we're just 1 off of Teemo. Oh my god. We have so many pairs. What do I even put in this Volibear for? I guess the Nautilus, our only other 2-star other than Lulu. Oh man, this is awkward. So items, probably Giant Slayer and Trapclaw maybe. And not too much to build there. Maybe a Zeke's. Don't ask me why I built Trapclaw on Lulu. I must have thought Lulu was Heimerdinger. That's the only explanation, because there's no reason to build it on Lulu when I could build it on Teemo or Heimer. So just don't ask on that. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs on our bench. All huge power spike pairs. Rel, Teemo, Ivern, Garen, and Heimerdinger. Oh my god, I remember this game now. So what would you guys take here? The Nico is decent for like a guaranteed return. Shojin is such a good Heimer item. Loaded dice, I could use it on Ivern to get Ivern, Heimerdinger, Volibear, and Teemo. Oh man, this one is tough. Keep in mind though, like the loaded dice, while good, it's not guaranteed to get those units because he has like 3 different synergies, so he could get a lot of garbage that I don't want also. I opt for the Shojin here, but I really think I should have gotten Nico, just Nico Teemo, and call it a day there. It's really greedy what I did. I think this is definitely a mistake, so don't do this in your game. If you have like 5 pairs and you're low life, such as this situation, just take the frickin' Nikos. Even though Shojin is like best in slot on Heimer, if he's 1-star, he's not going to do that much. So I don't know why I set it up in this way, where I like keep rolling down and keep missing. And I guess I must have assumed that I was going to hit at least one of the guys with like my 10 gold that I was rolling. It just never happened. Ooh, my Teemo got sniped. That's a little unfortunate, but Heimerdinger got a good ult off. We almost have his Karma killed. One more Heimer ult. Come on, come on. Boom. No, not enough. Not enough. We needed 2-star so badly. This is just like one cost gaming the entire game, or 1-star gaming. We get an Ivern there. Probably the least important pair on my bench. Actually, no, he's pretty good. He's better than the Rel. So I guess I can't complain too much about that. So looking at the other teams, they're actually not that strong either. I saw a Draven player only with the Draven 1, so that is probably a guy we are able to beat. I'm going to move my team around just because, you know, it's always good to switch it up. It's best to scout and make an informed decision after that. All right, this guy's got Taric too. He's got an Aphelios in the back. He couldn't hit either. Man, this was the guy who was doing that fast 8 strategy, but he just never hit also. So I guess this is just a really weak lobby, which is why I was able to get away with this piss weak board. And might he even beat us? Our Dude, our Heimerdinger turret has gotten so much value, but the Shojin is actually doing a lot of work. But would I rather have a 2-star Heimerdinger? Dude, this turret's putting in so much work. Wow. I know we still lost and we're about to get like 7th or whatever, but ooh. Is that just a Garen? I think I'm taking... Oh, Garen or Teemo. I'm taking the Teemo. All right, GG. All right, that gives us a 2-star. I'm going to roll down to 0. And we get another Heimerdinger. So I sell the Rel for the Heimer, of course. And then we probably item remove this ZZ route off of Teemo. It sucks because I want to item remove the Trap Claw because I'm a monkey for putting it on my on my Lulu. That's definitely a mistake. Maybe I thought it was Shadow Trap Gloves. I either thought it was Shadow Trap Glove or it was like my Lulu was my Heimerdinger. One of the two happened because, oh man, that's so awful. But I think I should item remove my Teemo to put the ZZ Rod on like my Ivern or my Volibear. Or even Garen, honestly, because health is so good on him. But let's see how we do against this guy. This is an Aphelios player. We're going to get a Heimer 2-star ultimate off. And yeah, it's not even close anymore. Heimer 2-star is so strong. And with the Shojin, it guarantees that he's going to cast at some point in the game. And yeah, just like such a beautiful late game combo. So we have 2 2-star legendaries. We have a 4-cost 2-star and a 3-cost. But that's kind of it. We still have a ton of 1-star. So we're not out of the woods yet. We're kind of just lucky because a lot of these other teams, they're running a lot of 1-stars too. I think there's only like one Karma 2-star and one Draven 2-star in this game. And most other people, they just have weak teams. You know, sometimes you're in one of those games where everyone's weak. Sometimes you're in those games where people have 2-star Teemo in stage 4. It all happens. So if you do have a weak board at certain points in the game, stable can mean a lot of different things. Sometimes stable means being like all 2-stars. Sometimes stable means having like a bunch of 1-stars like we had here. It really depends on the game, which is why scouting is so incredibly important. Do not tell me, dude, what the heck? I don't even remember my turret smurfing this hard, but this turret is just honestly the MVP because that was ridiculous what he just did right there. So we got a second Rel. I also bought an extra Lulu just in case I get a new 2-star Lulu to replace and put the Trap Claw on someone else. I don't think it's worth replacing quite yet. But let's roll down here. Lulu's really useful because she gives my team more attack speed. There's a 2-star Garen gonna... Oh my god, our team just spikes so hard. Greeting that Shojin over the Nico actually paid off, but you know, it doesn't always pay off. Just because it worked in this game doesn't mean it's going to work in future games, which is something you got to keep in mind. In hindsight, I'm pretty sure just going for the... What do you call it? Would have been a lot better. The Nico's help instead of the Shojin. But like... Heimer has been doing work though, but without 4 Invoker, without 4 Renewer, he shouldn't be smurfing this hard. I honestly don't know why he's able to do that this game. All right, this guy's Karma sniped my backline, but she's not doing any damage at all. What the heck? Or I guess now she did damage, but is it too little, too late for him? Ooh, it is. Okay, nice. Dude, our front line's so tanky. What the heck? All right, so we're able to win that round. We are in 5th now. All right, nice. Not too bad. Not too bad. Considering the bunch of mistakes I made this game. Did I see? Oh my god. Okay, now I really remember this game. Yeah, the Aphelios 3 player. Now the game becomes who doesn't face the Aphelios 3. That's literally all this game comes down to. I think there's a chance for me to beat him. It's just very, very low. And I don't have the perfect items to do it with. But if I manage to snipe Teemo on him early, that will lower his attack speed by a lot, enough for Heimer to maybe do one ultimate to finish him off. Because he probably is above the Giant Slayer threshold, so I might be able to just snipe this turret. All right, MVP of this game is Turret. It's not even Teemo, which is actually incredible because we got Teemo so early. I'm going to roll down to 0. Hopefully we get Volibear 2 or Rel 2, and the answer is no. Selling Lulu because we don't need her, and I'd rather get the rolls. Actually, I sold the big Lulu, but we... so I sold the Lulu, and then like I see 2 more Lulus, and then I just keep going to try to find Rel, and then we see another Lulu. Don't ask me what went on in that instance, but I put the Trap Claw on our Teemo. Hopefully that blocks the Aphelios ability. I guess it would have worked even if it was on my Lulu, because Aphelios is AoE, so maybe I shouldn't have even done that. I guess it's a 4th place because we queued into the Aphelios 3 guy, and we are not hitting him at all. Maybe this Heimer turret's enough. Yeah, not enough. And that is exactly lethal. A little unfortunate. I wish we faced that guy a little later because we were much stronger than everyone else, but it is my fault for being low health because I was playing Teemo, buying a lot of Teemos, and I was lose streaking most of the game. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that 3-hour compilation of playing Karma every game. I know we didn't actually end up playing her every game, but in the beginning of the game, we did have the intent of doing that. And you don't always hit Karma. We actually did hit Karma this game, but it was during like stage 4-6. So if we did not hit that Teemo, despite rolling like a lot of gold on level 7, I think, in stage 3-5, normally you are able to hit a Karma sometime on stage 3-5 or 4-1, depending on when you do your level 7 roll down. But, you know, it doesn't always happen. But hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to be doing more of these challenges or compilations in the future. So if that is of interest to you, definitely subscribe below. But I'm sure if you guys have watched this far, you guys are already subscribed. But more guides coming in the future as well, so definitely look out for that. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.